What's up, everybody? This is Karak with ACG, and I'm here with ABZY. And we are doing the best gaming podcast, number 433. We're going to talk about E3. We're going to talk about new information on Blade, Insomniac hack, PS5 Pro stats, and more. And some of what you guys are talking about. Yeah, there was no audio on the poll. I apologize for that. This is just one of those things where I see a poll, or there was no audio on the video. I see, did you watch E3? And then other people are saying the poll has no question. You see a question on the poll?
Wait, do we have audio?
Yeah, we should have audio. Jesus, do we still not
I
have
see a question.
Yeah.
Wait, guys, do we have...
We got audio.
Okay, we're good.
But anyway, yeah, best gaming podcast. That's why we named it this way, not for the SEO and not because we actually think we're the best, but because no matter how much work we do, something always goes just a little bit wrong. But thank you, everybody, for showing up. I appreciate it. If you didn't get the alert right away, that's because I'm testing how the alerts go out and inform everybody of what we're doing. Speaking of what we're doing, what have you been playing? Because we didn't talk to you on Friday.
Yeah, it's been a while. So I noticed where I live, Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader is $20. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I bought it. And I've been playing that. I've been enjoying it. Obviously, if someone like got into CRPGs with BG3, it's like a rude awakening. You know, this is what CRPGs are. You know what I mean? There's a lot of reading.
Mm-hmm.
There's no mocap and all that crazy cutscenes and all that stuff. The thing with it, I got lucky. I mean, so far I've been playing. I played like 13 hours. I got 2 bugs that required me to reload a save. So far. I guess it's the luck of the draw. I wouldn't say like buy it if it's like $50 with how many issues it's got. What I'm really enjoying though, I don't know shit about Warhammer 40K lore. I've never looked into it. I don't know anything about it, but it's fucking cool, dude. How do people think of this shit? You know what I mean? Like I'm learning about it right now and opening the codex and reading all these like highlighted words and stuff, and it's insane. Like it's just ridiculous, dude. The warp and the navigators and how ships work and the God Emperor, and you got like psychers, and it's just learning about it. The world is just it's ridiculous, there's a lot of machine gods and tech priests and gruesomeness, and it's really fucking cool, man. It got me really interested in Warhammer 40K lore now. So I'm kind of digging it. I also like the vibe of being a Lord Commander of something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what a rogue trader. I didn't know what a rogue trader was. I thought we were gonna be just like a ragtag group of space pirates. That's like my initial when I saw the trailer, because I have no idea what all this stuff is. But when I saw the scale of what I own and everybody obeying me and like what kind of leader I want to be and stuff, I'm like, yo, I dig this. Cool vibes. Definitely the production value isn't as, it's a AA. It's a normal CRPG. There's a lot of reading, tons of reading. But I also really like the music, especially the one where that plays while you're on the ship. Love that track.
I like the guitar track when you're in some exploration, and it's like everything's usually celestial and like choir bits, and then all of a sudden, occasionally in a battle, you'll be like, somebody just hammering away on the guitar. I am aware. I don't know if anybody's hearing it. I am aware of a little bit of an audio thing for ABZY. That's most likely just the internet between us. It's only happened twice, just so you know.
There's an audio thing for me.
It's not. It's like. When you talk, it's happened twice in that amount of time, so I think we're good. Okay. But just be aware, it's an internet thing. It's not a thing with us or anything like that. It's
okay.
It's Zoom just did a big update, and I noticed it once the Zoom did the update, it started to pop up. So it's an audio buffer thing, or something that we can't control. But it's not even noticeable to like most people. It's just me. I'm always like peering. Into the audio.
I noticed the little
Yeah. When it comes to Warhammer, I personally believe that the next big game, the game that's going to just sacrifice everybody's wallets, would be a lore simulator, where somebody writes lore for their own world and then just creates a game where all you do is read all you do is read lore. and maybe ask questions, get questions, multiple purpose questions.
So it's kind of like a wizard for learning lore.
But it may just be somebody's
cool.
random book. I mean, there's enough simulators. There's House Flipper that I reviewed. There's all these games, so it's like, why not do a lore simulator? You know, make it some guy who's writing his
procedural
own
lore
Amazon, you know, like Amazon self-published book. Maybe they'll just do it on their own. I don't know. It's one of those things where everybody seems to like the lore in a lot of these games. Like, you know,
I will say, the lore. Dude, how do they actually think of this stuff? Like, is it a thing they did over time?
It's 4 decades.
4 decades of lore. Okay. Yeah.
I think also the rogue trader thing isn't too surprising that you thought like you were going to be a ragtag, because most of the time we hear about Warhammer, you think Space Marines, and you think Tyranids or Tyranids, you think Gene Stealers, you think Hive Worlds, and suddenly you got a guy who's basically trying to find the best price of muffins. And somehow they have unbelievable power. So it's weird. You're like a rogue trader, and even myself, when I first got Rogue Trader as a RPG, I was like, I don't understand exactly why these guys have this but it's basically to keep the Empire alive, is to give these guys ultimate power so that they can perform deals.
Just need that trade warrant.
Yeah, they're really rogue diplomats, because that's the difference between a Space Marine and a rogue trader. Space Marine ends the arguments, and it seems like the rogue trader starts them. Like a rogue trader lands or gets involved in everybody else's arguments, where a Space Marine shows up after the argument's done, or a choice has been made. They show up to terminate or to support. And a rogue trader is like, so give me both sides of the story real quick. Also, I don't know about you, but I feel like they dug deep into people getting assassinated during discussions in that game. Whenever anybody shows up for a discussion and you land on a new planet, my opinion is that guy's going to die while we're talking, because at minimum it happened 4 times where you're just
it's happened like 2 times already.
It's already happened 2 times for you. Yeah, you'll be talking boom, boom, and you're like, all right, and nobody should talk to me. Also, the low assets is the one thing I noticed. I feel that it looks worse than Pathfinder by a good amount, and I was really surprised how low quality a lot of the textures and polygons and designs were once I came off of Pathfinder. And I don't know if that's a thing, that I don't know if they were trying to hit something, maybe. I don't know why, but that's the only
felt like Pathfinder was a bit more cluttered, right? Or like a bit more
there was more detail, and the textures in a lot of places weren't great in either one, but I feel that Warhammer in particular has some really rough textures in a lot of places.
100%.
And they need to fix the camera. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but they need that camera. I fought the camera a lot in battles where it couldn't figure out if I was high or low, or if I would go around and it would be black and you couldn't see because you were behind a pillar and you had to like zoom in. I found myself fighting that. Those were the big deals I had with it. And the bugs. I definitely had some loading bugs, which killed my soul. I'm a big believer in lost time starts to impact everything. And I definitely had to reload more in that game than I think I've ever reloaded in a game before.
Crazy.
That was the big problem I think I had with it. But
for
overall,
sure, that is
still
a huge
enjoyable.
problem.
Lots of lore. It's Owlcat, so if you can wait, you'll get some batches.
Definitely wait. Wait. The only reason I got it was because it's cheap here. Also,
$20 ain't bad.
I do like the overall UX more than BG3. I will say that. I like the UX way more. I like the fact that I can drag and select my guys if I want to move 1 separately, 2 separately, 3. I think the menus are easier to navigate and more more ergonomic.
And you found yourself using the drag and separate. You found yourself using one guy, basically. Yeah,
like the traps and stuff, and just disarming traps and doing random stuff. I just like. I guess I'm more of a fan of the old school type CRPG kind of. I'm not a huge fan of Larian, like even in Divinity. I love those games, but I'm more of a fan of like the Pillars, maybe BG1 and 2, Wasteland, that type of the way that you control characters there. Usually 6 people parties, usually real time with pause, but obviously this one's turn based. By the way, really fun combat, very XCOM like, but you have a lot of ability real estate. I feel like you could do a lot in a turn.
You can do a lot in a turn. Nice. I think I feel the restriction of not being able to move after shooting unless you have a skill.
That is a restriction.
That's a
run and gun.
Yeah, when you come from a Baldur's Gate or other games that allow it. I don't. By the way, when I say a restriction, I don't mean it's worse or better. I just mean you notice it. It's like this is a different thought process that's required, and a good one. I mean, it works. Like to me, I like the idea that the skills give you that. Like the girl, what's her name? The space
Navigator.
The one with the bolter. The one with the bolter.
Oh, the soldier.
Yeah, she.
Oh, she's my strongest. Right?
Yeah, and she can't hit shit sometimes. I don't know what's going on with her accuracy, but she has the ability to. She starts to have the ability to add on movement so much that it becomes.
More dash and stuff. Yeah. She's a nimble one. I naturally made a noble officer. That's my type of character, and I put everything on her. I like you serve me, she becomes my servant. Put this buff, that buff, give her a turn. It's like playing officer is really interesting, or noble officer at least, because it's kind of like you're playing the strategist.
Yeah.
As you know what I mean, you're like just using your guy to control other people, which I found really fun. Yeah.
I went to the Master at Arms and made my own secondary character because you're able to do that. You can basically just do the entire adventure with no named NPCs. And I ended up liking my secondary guy, so I had 2 custom characters, which was really fun because then I could make like exactly what I wanted for my 2 guys, and then everybody else is a support. There's some great guys that you get in it, and some great skills. I think that the big thing with Owlcat, and I don't know why they chose it this way, but their upgrade system is really poor in its clarity and its visual presentation. Man. The dial thing needs to go. It's not good.
Oh, man. Okay, first of all...
Was it confusing as hell to you?
So I found it more digestible than Pathfinder. Pathfinder was definitely more confusing, but because of that, I kind of, and you warned me, so I expected it to be confusing. It is, dude, I don't know why. So they leave, for example, if you're playing another game, let's say you're playing like League or WoW or something, and you look at a gear, like a description of a gear set, for example, on a website or something, and it shows you the equation that they calculate the end result.
Yeah.
But in this one, they keep the equation and they do not calculate the end result for you. You got to sit there and calculate it. It's like, 2 times fell over 2 to the times the square root of like 5 over your weapon skill. It's like, dog. Yeah. So honestly, I fuck all that. I just look at, it gives me, it gives me some attack. Oh, okay. It just debuffs enemies. Okay. So I'm just not like, I'm not being super, plus I'm playing on not the highest difficulty. So it's, I don't really need to. But that and
the lettering for skills kills
the thumbs up shit.
Yeah, the thumbs up.
Sometimes
ES for like extended shot versus
I want to see images, right?
Like,
I want to see icons.
This is so it's so hard to parse. 8,000 acronyms in a game. You're just like, oh my god.
Yeah. It's way way better to have icons like that. They even had that in Pathfinder, and I hated it just having the letters in there.
Yeah. Oh, the one thing I loved is one time I had a skill that built a skill, but I had another guy that built a skill as well. And so if I wanted to figure out the number, there were 3 formulas plus a passive formula that I would have had to figure out, because it was like, and then it was like, if it's an up close, it adds another stack of a different formula. So technically there would have been 3 characters formulas to figure out to get the final number, and another formula that added something else to it that was completely separate from another character. And so I'm just left clicking, opening up the papyrus, the fucking or the data for each one of these formulas, going, okay, it does some stuff. Does it do more stuff than the other stuff that's stuffed? And that's how I chose a lot of stuff.
Same, dude. Yeah. Also, why the fuck do skill checks work that way, dude? They're so weird.
Yeah,
is that part of like the tabletop? Like, what? How do you even? The tutorial popped up, and I'm like, what?
There's Warhammer rules. There's D20 rules. These a lot of times these games will have multiple rule systems that they'll apply. So if somebody's a fan of D20, the company may have their own rule set and then do a D20 rule set because they want to get the D&D people in. And the skill checks. So the skill checks, the passive active skill checks. I mean, I like them, but dude, when you're looking over here and then sometimes it'll be like, this skill's locked off, this skill's not, this skill's got a thumbs up, the skill's got an emoji of a dude.
I don't like the thumbs up.
Or a dude crying. I'm just joking. Those aren't in there. But yeah. So to try to figure all that out and parse it, it's I think the best they could do. But it would be nice if they had some video tutorials maybe in the game where you click it and it's like, like almost like where it says like Rogue Trader. You can, here's an update to a skill, and maybe they have a holo vid showing
some better onboarding,
or something. Yeah. It's crazy, man.
But the thumbs up, dude, I realized like sometimes they're good, okay, but sometimes it just makes no sense. Sometimes it's like, dude, why wouldn't this skill literally utilizes my what did I have? What's that skill called that gives you persuasion and shit? I have it very maxed out. They're all part of one fellowship, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I have so much fellowship, and there's a skill right there that uses that when I buff allies. Why are you thumbs upping the one that I don't really need? Stuff like that, where it's some dissonance where I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna rely on thumbs up anymore.
I like that they tried to do their own thing, but for the most part still follow the rules. But in the end, tabletop is just different than a electric version. You get it's almost impossible to do the data, and I think time wise they decided to not do the formulas, which I would have loved anyway. I think that would have been possible for them to grab the data to do the formulas, but maybe there's so many nested entries.
The game does
it
anyway.
Yeah, but it does it during the time of attack, and I think maybe they're a little worried that it will show a low bonus because you don't have stacks of mana
something,
or whatever.
War buff
I'm
or
just making
something.
some up.
Right.
Yeah, war buff, and so
they didn't want numbers conflicting.
Right, because if you see those numbers, then you might go, I don't want this skill, not realizing that those numbers buff up quickly in a battle. But I still think there's other ways to do it. Owlcat chooses the hardest stuff. I mean, hats off to them, because they choose some of the hardest, most crunchy things to cover. Pathfinder's pretty
these equations
crunchy.
Are like, how do they think of these equations? I guess like a lot of balancing and testing, but
Warhammer has always used what I consider to be first D100, which I love, but they also do weapon skill, weapon proficiency, ballistic skill, toughness. There's something about their skills that I actually like better than D&D. I actually like those primary attributes. I like those skills.
They're good ones.
I like the primary attributes. It's when you get into the secondary passive ones and you're like, well, would it matter if that character's, for example, in some games, if you have a skill, it's channeled through your main guy regardless. So like a person's got a high coercion and it's channeled, and this one's a little different. I love that. I like it too.
I thought it
so
did.
If
like
you go
it just
to a trap and you hit trap, whoever on your team has the highest trap does that. Which, by the way, that's also fine. They're all fine. All these work fine. It's just that it can be a little difficult sometimes because depending on what battle you're going into or where you think something might happen, when you choose those different groups, there's a lot of formulas you have to reconfigure because one guy has changed on your entire team. By the way, that's why people love crunchy stuff. But I think crunchy needs to be supported by an ease and a sophistication in its delivery of data, and that's what's missing. Is that it's got both, but one side, which is the supporting side, crunchy is great if you can understand the crunch, and there are times where it
could be too much.
Duty people are like, dude, that's a lot.
But I do love and BG3 didn't have this, but some CRPGs do, is when you're in the middle of dialogue and those skill checks come in, that your whole team helps. You know what I mean? Like if you don't have enough coercion, but your ally does, you're gonna use his skill instead of yours, which I really. Solasta did it too.
Yeah, I think the only other problem I have in the entire game, or not necessarily, it's just I think that I was getting a lot of secondary weapons not showing up, a lot of animation stalls, and I still get them. That was a little bothersome because when I switch out to another weapon, let's say I have my hammer, and I switch out to a laser gun and fire it, my character would jumble around, and then, like I said, the laser would fire from his chest or whatever. And I'd be like, all right, you really only have two weapons. I think as a primary delivery of graphics presentation, you should get those two weapons working before you release the game. Like, you guys need to figure that out. And I also noticed that you can turn up and down the animation speed for those in the options, which I thought was interesting. So you can say, like, animation for weapon switching should be really fast, which I thought was cool. I switched it no matter what, even if I went slow. Some of them didn't appear, but I like the idea of that. so that if you do want to see both weapons, you don't have to watch them go.
You want it to be a little snappy.
Yeah, you want it to be a little snappier for presentation. So when I did the poll, everybody in chat, thank you very much. I'm going to get super chats next, but I want to say thanks for showing up. Tweet out that we're doing it. It helps the channel whenever you guys do that, because podcasts do unfortunately negatively impact the metrics because only a small group of us watch so far. The poll was, did you watch E3 at all? And 63% said yes, 37% said no. And I think that feels about right even for when we all talk. That I notice in a discussion, we probably get, out of 10, you get 4 people who don't watch it, and then the 6 people who watch it for various
E3
reasons.
In general?
Yeah, E3 in general, I think it was a trailer expectation as well. And so people showed up for the trailers. Out of your 6 who go in a group of 10, 3 might have went for trailers, 4 might have went for the E3 presentation itself, seeing, games on the floor. And then 4% or 4 people out of this, not 4%, but 4 people out of the 10 as a generic group just weren't interested in it at all. Because E3 was also not cultivated outside of the events that Microsoft, Sony, and those guys put on. What were you going to say? Go ahead.
I just really I liked, it had its issues, obviously, and all that stuff, but I understand 100% why I had to go, because it just makes sense. It makes sense why it ceases to exist. But I really liked just the unified kind of, this is the time for E3 every year, and we're gonna see some cringe moments, some weird moments, some funny moments, some boring moments, some hype trailers, and a lot of discussion around it. It was a really fun event. It's different from something like the Game Awards or Summer Games Fest or whatever. It was longer. It was a couple days, and it was always like a big kind of festival of events. You know what I mean? Which was did you catch that panel? Did you catch this panel? Did you catch these interviews? It was always like a really fun time.
I think it's going to hurt games as a whole too, for those titles that people might have wanted to jump into and didn't know about them, but then Joe Blow, the influencer, went, or Karak the Nothing. I go in, I cover 3 or 4 games that nobody else is covering because nobody else has time. They're covering the big ones, and you get enough of those people who are covering the small ones, and suddenly you have a lot of coverage. And we're going to see that with Summerfest or whatever it's called, the Summerfest games thing. I think that's also Jeff. We're going to see more of those. We're going to see more of mini events, but that's a lot of stuff to catch up on. There's a lot of stuff that you end up, having difficulty catching up. Did the poll start? No, it didn't. Let's go with poll just keeps adding options. There we go. So next question for the group are you playing older games this December? As in, are you jumping into 2023 games you missed, or are you just going to get the new games in December? I released a video. There's actually more games in December I wasn't prepared for, and then January's actually got some titles I wasn't expecting. House Flipper comes out tomorrow, I think, as well.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't checked it, House Flipper was awesome, dude. Its performance was woeful. Jeez.
Yeah,
yeah. God damn. For what it's showing, that was the worst performance I've seen in years. But I got to tell you, I was making up stories of what I was seeing, because you would see, like, that dry, colorful paint you see that people throw up at marathons, the powder.
Yeah.
So this party happened in this one house, and no lie, man, some of the footprints and handprints were very sexually suggestive. Like 2 pair of footprints at a chair, and then a pair of hands on the back of the chair, looking like somebody was getting doggy styled, all kinds of crazy stuff. But then there were blood stains in places, and so in my brain, I'm like a Hollywood maid cleaning up after Charlie Sheen. I'm like, what's happened here?
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, you're in there like vacuuming up and then cleaning up blood stains and all this stuff.
Some white powder.
It was dude. There's some questionable shit, and there's this graphics display of what looks like it possibly might have been a bagel, but it's rotten enough. It looks like somebody put a poop on a plate and put it out. And so I would always be coming up with stories in my brain. It'd be like, people trying to see who could have the biggest cocaine poop. Yeah, it's a phenomenal game in that way, and in the zen and sort of a like.
And it's the same kind of,
I guess.
You clean and then you can renovate.
You start cleaning and then you unlock the ability to build houses yourself. It's somewhat detailed. Obviously, you're not there fucking tacking in every single nail and stuff. But a big add for this one is the ability to assemble things. You start to get, I don't know what their competitions, I guess, but they give you like a desk, and if you assemble it in a certain amount of time, that company sells you the desk cheaper as you move forward through the game.
Oh shit! Okay.
Sort of like
okay.
yeah, it was sort of weird, but putting those desks together was awesome because none of the cuts and bruises from an IKEA desk, but you still get one at the end because it's all digital.
Yeah.
But even the hammering, so you'd screw in a drywall screw, then you'd put a thing in, then you'd put a sinker in, then you would have to line up your hammer and go ba ba ba, and it would be like good, poor, excellent, and if it was poor, they'd rate you at the end for like how well you did.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, from what I've seen from your review, it looked like an actual sequel, like a huge step up, a lot of new features and stuff, and a lot of more detail and what you can do.
Yeah, those stories were great too, man. Like in my brain, I mean, they had to have done it on I mean, I don't remember number one doing this, but there was enough weird, questionable stains. Like one guy hires you to clean up his roommate has left for the weekend, so he hires you to clean up his roommate's like room, and there's like stains on the bed that are wet and white. There's stains on the ceiling, and I'm like, what in the and then he has you sell his computer and mouse, and I'm like,
okay,
what's happening? Like,
that's a really, really cool and unique way to tell stories, because you hear a lot about like how garbage collectors or maybe in the shows or in real life or cleaners, you know, they tell stories through people's garbage and what they see in their rooms and stuff like that. So I think that's like a really, really neat thing to have added.
Yeah,
just some
garbage is like the compression of a person's life, right? It's the compression of all of the experiences for that week into a box. So when you unload it, it can cause you to look at things differently and go, what the hell's happening? And some of it's not questionable, but I'm sure if somebody looked at my trash, they'd be like, all this guy does is eat eggnog and Uncrustables. You know,
it's like going through a search history or
going
something.
Through a search, but almost like a aggregated Metacritic search history, because you're only seeing the wrappers of things. You're only seeing the stuff they've chosen to throw away and how they threw it away. It's great, man. Looking at super chats here real quick. Let me jump in here and get through a couple of these so that we can move on, but I always want to make sure that I read some of these. I appreciate you guys sticking around when we read these. I know that you didn't do a super chat, you can be like, this slows it down a little bit, and I get that it does, but I'll go through it quick. Daniel Gregory, $10 super chat. Hi. On games with sequels, you tend to end the first game with godlike power. I know where this is going. With godlike powers and abilities, yet the second game your character's forgotten all the skills. How do you think this can be better implemented?
Do it through the story. Obviously, that's like the thing I see the most happen is, like, for example, God of War 3, or you plunge back down into hell.
Mass Effect, you die.
They slowly take away your stuff. Another way you could do it is have like a baseline of the of your move set. I think they did that with God of War Ragnarok, where you have a baseline of your move set, where a lot of the new combos you got was from the first game, but not all of them. So you have like a move set that's bigger than the beginning of the first game, and then all the new stuff you get is just different stuff. That's like another thing. You know, you still had the blades and stuff in Ragnarok, and
I would say for me, that I would personally rather have them not take them away at all, and they figure out a way to up the combat and stuff in the sequel, up the powers of the enemies, and do it narratively without removing it. I'm done with the removing. I'm done with being okay with it. I'm done with, like, and I know
maybe they combine things so that
I know other
cumbered.
People will jump in who are new, and so I'm still going to review as if, does it work? But personally, I don't want it. Mass Effect handled it really poorly. And the reason why they did is, if you remember, Mass Effect 1 wasn't on PS3. So they go to Mass Effect 2 and they try to get on board new gamers. How do you do that? Well, you kill a guy. And that way you're able to create this new character. But you're just like, come on, guys. You know, it just doesn't work. I don't like it when I have 8,000 special abilities and you start the new one, you're still learning how to walk. You know, Spider-Man always does that. They're like, okay, now you can unlock, you know, the ability to do 2 webs. And you're like, I've unlocked this 3 fucking times. You know, it's like you have Alzheimer's based on whatever sequel you're playing, and you've forgotten your new skills. So I would love for combat to just say, hey, it's stepped up, and then make the combat easier at the starting to learn those skills, but not remove them. But by the third
Yeah,
game,
it's a very
man,
interesting discussion. Like, because a lot of, especially recent sequels, or especially sequels that are for games that released more than like 5 or 6 years ago, they're always pushing onboarding new players and having be like, oh, you can play this without having played any of the older ones. You know, that's a thing you hear time and time again with sequels. You even heard that for Alan Wake 2, where, you know, I disagree, because I think you should really play the first one before that.
Yeah, I disagree completely, right? Like,
you'd be very lost to it.
You need to at minimum watch. I would rather have you even not watch. I would rather have you play it. But skipping doesn't even. In fact, I would say skipping. They didn't even do a great job onboarding the story.
Yeah,
really,
like Saga,
you know?
like you can. You could, you know, you got the case board and stuff, but you still have to do a lot of, if you know nothing. I don't know. There's still a lot of stuff, like especially on Alan's side of things, where Alan's side of things would be completely meaningless without the first one. I feel like a lot of it would be. I know there's like new stuff in there. Even playing Control, I feel like that's also a little bit. Even playing Quantum Break to a sense, but that's way smaller than the other two. But anyways, yeah. But I feel like with games, especially something like Mass Effect, if you're playing one character through multiple games where your choices follow and stuff, that's a game where there's no, or pillars, you gotta retain all your abilities and stuff from the first one. I feel like that, because you retained all the choices and stuff, so I feel like,
exactly,
you know,
exactly the choices
maybe
you
for
made,
new players it'll
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm saying maybe for new players who didn't play the first one, you can just set those new abilities, or start fresher or something and level up quicker or something like that. But for older players,
what I was going to say was the choices you made at the end of the first game are intrinsically connected to the powers you had, because you might make a choice saying, I'm too powerful to just destroy these guys because I'm 60th level now, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to overuse my power. Then you could jump into the second game, and a lot of your choices are based on a character that no longer exists and a power curve that no longer in any way connects to the first half of that next game. It's difficult to do, but personally, I just feel it would be great if somebody did it, because I don't know many games that have done it well, where you're just like, boom, you've got these powers, we take your save game in, or maybe you just say what you did, and it generically gives you some skills, but it makes you still feel like, for example, when you come back as Shepard, I think it was a couple years between 1 and 2, I can't remember, but you come back, they've changed the shooting system, they've changed the ammo systems, and they just wave it off. You know, they're like, "Oh, it's because of this," and you're like, okay, I get it, but it could. The ammo
system thing was
the ammo system was pretty rough. You know, it's just like we changed it, and it would have been better if that was in the narrative. You know, for example, what if you had a cool narrative where two guys are arguing about the old and new gun? And one guy's like, no, listen, dude, come on. The old way was the best way. All these new, and you get that feeling of a built world where they're going through the same experience you are as Shepard, going, why is everything different? Like, I need to feel this. I need to feel the way the world is built. They get caught
just
up
a throwaway thing, right?
It. Yeah, it's a throwaway
thing. They even did it in like something like Parks and Rec, where the actor had to get thin for Guardians of the Galaxy, or get fit or whatever.
Chris Pratt.
And they just explained it away. I just stopped drinking beer, you know, something as small as that.
Do you know how many calories are in beer? Man, can you believe that what's his name passed away? Holt.
That crushed me, man. I love that actor, man.
Gutting. That guy from Mist, Glory, the old movie with Matthew Broderick and Denzel Washington, Glory, about the Civil War soldiers. That dude fucking nailed.
And he played a lot of good cops.
Yeah. Oh, man, it just sucks. Next super chat, SP3CU, PLN, $12 super chat. Thank you very much, and I was happy to see all of you guys in the Patreon Discord. We had like 12 people with 4... No, we had more than that. I think we had almost 24 at one time, with 4 people streaming the same game, and that has turned into magic. Man, that is something we will do more often. We've been slowly doing it where Discord now allows for you to watch multiple streamers. So yesterday, everybody was playing the finals, and then somebody... Aerox was playing WWE, so I was still watching that. But it was awesome because you have like 6 screens up and you can see them all from the different viewpoints of them.
And you can be playing and seeing others.
Yeah. It's absolutely true. That's one of the things I was trying to tell them. I'm like, listen, the delay is not bad. You could quite literally use these, you know, to do better in a team.
Yeah, for sure.
Hush Al Ghul, $5 super chat. God of War, got a Rogue Light. Last of Us also. Which Sony exclusive is next? Wolverine will have one. Bet your bottom dollar.
I'm all for roguelikes. Put them in every game, dude.
Yeah.
Especially if you make it as good as the one in God of War. If you
or
put
Gears,
that much care and effort.
both of those kind of Horde
Gears
mode
has a
Gears.
roguelike mode?
Horde.
Oh, Horde mode. Oh my God, yes. Don't give me half-assed Horde modes, dude. I want those Gears Horde. They really put a lot of effort into those. Like, you got those defenses and you know, endless waves and yeah, that shit was really fun, man.
I love modifiers in Horde modes as well. But I would Spider-Man could easily do it. All those games that if they want to do it, it's great. I would rather have them finish the main game and say, what do we have time and resources for? And then really deliver, even if it's a something tentative. I would rather have a good tentative, smaller package delivered in Rogue, and then they add to it as they go forward. But I would say Wolverine will for sure have it. That's just my guess. Days Gone 2, if there is a Days Gone 2. Wolverine feels primed for that. Because they'll probably do slow motion kills or something that really punches home on the kills. And I could see them being like, dude, you know. Yeah,
especially if people just love the combat section of it. I mean, we all know it's going to be like super narrative driven in a linear game. It'd be really cool to utilize that combat and play more. That's what they're really good for.
Wolverine's riding around on Cyclops' back, you know, open world. Like, whack, hitting him on the head, going, go over there, we got to save these people from a pickpocket. Wolverine's idea of saving somebody is making sure the bad guys are dead. That's a weird version of saving. You know what I mean? It's going to be odd if that's open world.
Just rip and tear, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine a guy like, you know, just randomly pickpocketing and you just slice their face off? I mean, it could be funny to do that and just be like, we're going for it, you know?
Oh God, I hope not. I hope he's not, you know, just like, oh, we must save the world. Like, I hope he's still.
Nah, it'll be, dude. It's Insomniac. I think if they grabbed it and want to do it, they're going to make sure it's done well. That's my belief. That's my belief. I'll say it's not even a hope. That's my belief.
Yeah, a little bit.
Fighting D-Dog, $2 super chat. What if Outcat gets a hold of Fallout 1 remake?
Then we will wait for it until it gets patched.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, be great until it gets patched. That's a good point. Will Grayson, $10 super chat. Hope you guys are having a great day. Wish I could give more. Hey man, $1's a dollar, $10, $10. Pretty easy math. Much easier than the formula in Outcat games. We appreciate it, man. It supports the channel. Love the games, 97, $2 super chat. Hello from your favorite TB patient. Yeah, so listen to this, man. We jump into Patron Discord. And I Love Games has something. Could be TB, could be an alien virus. But his key and timbre go up and down the entire time he's talking. So he's like a kid going through the worst puberty of his life. And he won't stop talking. So whenever I get sick, they usually warn you, hey, don't talk if you have a sore throat. Not this guy, man. He jumps in there and he's telling stories and he's like, so anyway, there's a and I'm like, oh my God, dude, you gotta mute, man. You can't. I let him go for like an hour and then I was like, come on, bro, you're killing me here. But yeah, thank you.
For an hour.
It was probably longer than an hour. I let it go for a long time, and then my ears started like rebelling. But we had a good time. It was more funny than anything. But I was like, dude, you are sick. You need to calm yourself down. Last one, Sicilian Gamer, $2 super chat. Is Xbox making an exclusive about only Use Me Blade? So are they making an exclusive for Blade? I was told,
for sure.
I was told it was exclusive, but it could be a time thing. It could be time.
Why wouldn't it be exclusive?
Well, so right now we're getting the really odd thing where only Microsoft's getting hammered for the exclusives and other companies do exclusives. And, you know, I think.
But then people complain why it doesn't have exclusives.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, I think if they want to get out of jail free, they could say a year later it's on other systems, I guess, if they wanted to. It also would behoove them for sales.
So either way, they shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, no matter what, they either have the PR, you know, with a lot of Sony fans who are like, oh, every game that's exclusive is terrible. And then when they get one, you'll hear them be like, oh, okay. It's just like streaming. Hated streaming. And then the moment streaming comes to Sony, all of a sudden you hear people going like, yeah, streaming's pretty cool. It's like, yeah, it is pretty cool. It's been cool.
You also got to remember the PC market share is the biggest right now, right?
Yeah,
PC
that's
market
another
share,
thing.
And then you got Xbox. Yeah, like, and everything comes out on PC anyways from them. So that's still exclusive.
Right. Nintendo. Dude, they might do it with Nintendo. Yeah. You might find them deciding to do that game on Nintendo, a Blade on Nintendo Switch too.
Yeah, because it's not like really a competitor, right? It's like a side.
It might not be, but I feel that if you listen to all the interviews, there's a heat that will always exist between Sony and Microsoft, especially after the FTC thing, where there's not that with Nintendo. there's still a
Nintendo's
slight
on the side just smoking.
You know, you hear the story, he tried to buy Nintendo, or we talked about, and Nintendo guys laughing him out. You hear this with Sega, Nintendo's board being mean to the Sega guys who came to talk to him. You know, that sort of a thing. But there's still some kind of respect there that I think with what's going on with the FTC in particular, and all of these issues, I could see it going on Switch first for sure, or Apple.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I can see that.
What about Apple? Yeah.
Oh, what do they make up like 0.5%?
Microsoft could fight the exclusive thing by just being like, oh, it's not on it's not, we're not excluding it completely and release it on some of the side stuff. I don't think that'll happen, but
yeah.
Doing the poll here real quick, I asked, are you playing older games this December or diving into prior games? 56% of people said yes. They're diving into prior games they missed. 10% said no.
I found one.
33% mixed, and then no games at all, 1%. Interesting. So there's one person out there out of 120 votes. There's 3 people. Is that my math right? Three or four people who said no games at all. What were you going to say? You found what?
Nice. I found a game that came out on June 1st. It's not a big game, but it's called Killer Frequency, which interested me. It's on sale on Steam right now, which is why I checked it out. It's it's like a first-person horror puzzle game. It doesn't look that horror. It's more like an adventure interactive thing, fiction. And you sit behind like a what looks to be like a radio station and stuff, and guide people. And I don't know what the hell. It's like a lot of cool systems from what I could see. So I was like, oh, it kind of looks interesting.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do House Flipper, and then I'm doing the finals, which isn't old, but it's it's been released. And as a reviewer, I usually look at new stuff. But I did the finals yesterday and scooped. The finals might be my style of game because I did phenomenally well with 27 frames per second because I was running 2 Discords. What? Yeah. I wannabe dev goes, look at your CPU usage, and it was just 100%. It never went down, and I was like, but I still won and did phenomenally well. The game fits me. It's a little longer time to kill. It's a little bit more cerebral, a little bit more thought process, and a little less Call of Duty, a little less of that. And so far, I've had a really good time. It's lean though. I think I'll get bored of it with like Apex when it first came out, where it's like I think some of that'll go away. But the destruction's fun. There's funny stories that are told while you're playing, just funny things that happen. Somebody said that they had heard that Blade will go. So Fighting D-Dog said, Meg from Colt's podcast said a higher up at Microsoft told them Blade will go to PlayStation when Spider-Man swings onto Xbox. Direct quote. This is the person that told them about Blade months ago. It's possible. And, I don't. I'm
Why
not
is Xbox not allowed to have exclusives? Why is Sony allowed?
It's just the PR right now is skews away from them as a big company. So, I don't know that, especially with the way they're doing the cloud and stuff. Just I don't know. We're going to see probably some changes from them, and then we're also going to see some. We'll talk about this with the PS5 Pro's leaks, supposed leaks for the specs. If they are that small of a jump, then an Xbox is as small. We know at least one of their ideas for the Xbox is the one that looks like an Amazon device in your house. It's just a cylinder, and it's not it's not much more powerful. I could see them going with more pushing Xbox Cloud and crossplay and stuff. We'll just have to see. Who knows? Bill Moore says Xbox doesn't sell a lot of consoles because they don't have exclusives. Now they have exclusives, and the Sony-only fans are just going to have to cry and lie to themselves. All right. It's a pretty negative way of thinking about it, but in the end, I'm sure it's somewhat right in some ways. We all do that.
No, internationally, Sony's been always the popular console. I don't like, even just for playing COD and stuff, not necessarily exclusivity. Like most people that buy PlayStation don't do it for exclusives.
The Microsoft tax thing.
Oh, that thing?
Yeah, I got laid into it because I can't tell. I still can't, because I got laid into it, so I don't even know exactly what it is. But what I can tell is what they were trying to say is if a game is released on the Xbox and let's say an equal opportunity, equal quality title was released on Sony, that there is a subconscious sort of tax applied to the Xbox version. And I saw people saying that's not true. And I'm like, psychologically, though, there is platform favoritism from a psychological standpoint. And we do see that in every industry. So I don't know if that's what they were exactly saying. But if they were saying that, then it's like, oh, I could definitely see something like that popping up because it will happen.
Because the large majority don't have Xboxes.
No, it's just that over the years, positive favoritism towards PlayStation has developed because they have delivered. Consistent success delivers usually a positive reinforcement.
Reputation, right?
Yeah.
Or reinforcement, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. I don't know about like actual reputable reviewers having. Do you think like big reviewers have a bias, like an intrinsic bias?
Let's not talk about platform names for a second, but I absolutely can tell you that there's a platform bias from PC to Xbox or console. Ignoring Xbox, just saying console. For sure. You'll have a lot of people who have a bias towards the PC version due to their ability to throw different configurations at it and their ability to adjust it more than the console version. And so if you ignore the company name and you just say platforms, for sure. I mean, that's just a given. Even I say it. You know, if I have the choice and I have a somewhat powerful computer or, you know, a good equal opportunity computer, I will probably want the PC version because I will have more options. And so over a period of time, let's say I play 2 games, one on the Xbox 60 FPS, ray trace looks amazing, PC version 90 FPS looks amazing. Let's say it's just an extra 30 FPS. And somebody says, Karak, which is better, the PC or the console version? I might say PC, I'll give you a reason, and and the price point is different, but I'll still probably have some favoritism there. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know the exact thing about this Xbox tax because I'm sure it's been hyperbolized to a great deal by some Xbox fans, and I'm sure it's been negated as in it's not possible. It never happens by Nintendo and Sony fans. And so I think it's in the middle. You know, it's one more, the middle ground, the dangerous middle ground.
It's dangerous. You don't want to be there.
You don't want to be there. Kale, $5 super chat. If anyone is struggling with Rogue Trade or Wrath of the Righteous, Mortal Soul Gaming has good guides. Yeah. IGN has bias in many cases, won't even quote that a game has an Xbox version. Well, we did see a game where a review stated, I'm going to review this game lower because Xbox doesn't have many exclusives. I think it was Hi-Fi Rush. We did actually see a website say that.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's happened, I guess, because I just remembered. I did read that. It was stated in a review. So
there was a weird article. I have no idea, but like there was no point. I don't think there was a point to the article, but IGN released an article which was like how to cancel your Game Pass subscription, which was so random. I had no idea why, because you could like literally Google it there, and then like hours later it was like, okay, we'll make one for Sony. I didn't understand that, dude. I didn't get it. Why are you releasing it? Was it just like a slow day? Like,
I mean, if news is slow, dude, it works. You know, regardless, it works.
I guess so. Like, I mean, it generated fucking what do you call it?
Comments and
I mean, maybe they're just 10 head, dude. Maybe they're just like big brain, and they're like, yo, this will do some controversy. This will give us some engagements and shit.
I always hope that's not what it is, but I'm sure that is what it is. So, speaking of exclusives, let's talk about Blade. So, some new information popped this morning. I saw various people posting it, but the major person I saw post the actual data, I deleted from my notes. Give me 1 second. I'll just find that. Was that a LinkedIn note was that the writer for Blade, who's working on the current Blade game, was hired 2 years ago by Arcane. And so there's the assumption, idea, thought process that means Blade's been worked on for 2 years.
Pre-production, right?
Well, it's possible, but it could also, here we go. This is a post from, and they're a good aggregate news poster. This is a different one, but I'll read theirs. This is not the person who gave it to me. It looks like they've replaced the person who gave it to me, probably because they feel that there's some kind of favoritism. But, well, that's the one. I think it was like Hazza Gaming, but he follows me. This is Clobrill. Says, Arcane Studios Lions working on Marvel Blade since at least January, and they click the LinkedIn, and it takes you. And yes, I'm reading this because some people were complaining we didn't do this as much. Dana Nightingale is campaign director at Arcane and was hired for 2 years ago. So the idea was that means they were doing pre-production 2 years ago. It's possible, but it could also mean that that they jumped in and it was a discussion of what games are we working on, and Blade was chosen later. So it doesn't really prove anything. It doesn't prove its start time doesn't prove anything. I would love that, but I was told it has just started here in not too long ago. We didn't see anything for it either other than that cutscene.
That's just a teaser,
yeah. With Blade, what do you want to see from a Blade game? Is there anything that's popped up since we last talked? Anything that you'd like to see?
I read an interview, I think, or something about the director talking about it and talking about his vision, and he's like a hardcore. He's been there, he's made a lot of immersive sims, and he loves that genre so much, and he wants to bring it to popularity, and because we all know immersive sims, pure immersive sims don't sell well.
Right.
And from what he was talking about, trying to, we know it's third person, but trying to kind of combine the action adventure genre with like a lot of more MSim elements, and playing Blade your way, like that Marvel guy was talking about. I'm really hoping we see a lot of Arcane
DNA
in it, a lot of Arcane DNA. Plus, the level designers from Arcane Leon made a fantastic 25 to 30 hour fucking Thief 1 expansion. Which was breathtaking. The level design was phenomenal. Eclipses a lot of the Thief stuff, and those guys are brilliant. And he was, I believe, the lead. I don't know if he was the lead level designer, but a couple level designers worked on that, and I just gave me a little bit more faith in them. So reading all that, I do hope we'll see more elements of Arcane shine through a Marvel game, which would be fantastic, right?
I like the idea of, and I personally believe it'll be an immersive sim in some ways, an immersive as Blade sim. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So where Arcane was, or where Prey was like not an everyday man, but a man who was lodged in a certain thing, you were learning stuff. We already know who Blade is. So my personal opinion is it'll be a lot to do with like an immersive sim as a zombie or as a vampire hunter. Who's the more urban style and stuff like that. I loved where it opened up in the barbershop, because that's such a premier known for spot, and it works really well for I just love the idea of what I've seen. I think even that little snippet, the idea is I sort of picked out of it was like they know already sort of the theme that they want to go with, which feels more Blade 1 versus 2 or 3, obviously, but. Yeah, man.
It just gets me excited as well, like giving us vampire abilities, like giving us a bunch of tools, and then having us figure out ways to use those tools in unique ways. You know what I mean? That's what they do really well. That's Dishonored was basically like that. You had like a move set, and people did all sorts of crazy shit. Kill people with their own bullets and do a lot of possession and stuff. So I want to really see how like those abilities of Blade do shine through creativity.
I think also when you look at Blade, especially if you watch the first one, there's a lot of different clans. There's a lot of there's the Table, the guy who hates Frost, who was in the OD commercial. That old guy. They were these guys who ran the major clans, and then there was like Frost was the new guy, and the young upstarts. You're not even a pureblood, so he's like a half-blood who's a mutt or whatever. The idea of having different clan strongholds you go to as Blade, and maybe each one has a different setup. You have the old Gothic style, the old money vampires, who are the ones with dudes in business suits and the lots of money, PR, news announcements, things to subtly change stuff. You go into their place and you go to battle, and it might have a total feel that's different. Then you go into, the Frost style areas where it's the younger, maybe they're doing things that
it's like bloodlines.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
love that.
And I don't know in Blade how many vampire clans there are or groups and stuff like that, and how different they are. But in the movies, you see at least 2 or 3. So I think that you could easily hit.
I wonder. I wonder if they'll also have like a cool day-night cycle, like you are the Daywalker, all the other vampires come out at night. I wonder if they'll have like stuff to do in the daytime that's different than the nighttime, or levels, or
true,
maybe like the daytime supposed to be the sanctuary, or maybe there's like other forces at play.
Do you know what would be amazing? This never happened. Imagine if Norman Reedus came back, because he was in number 2. Imagine the explosion of popularity that game would hit if Norman Reedus shows back up. As even though he basically betrays Blade, he turns bad. But I don't know why. I just think that would be hilarious. Yeah, man, it's
he's
gonna
already
be cool.
in games, so
yeah, he's in a ton of games. We'll talk about that too. The movie actor versus developer discussion that sort of popped up. But yeah, I think we're looking pretty far out. You know, 2026, 2025 at the absolute earliest. Yeah, definitely not 2024. Sure. We know that, but yeah, I would say 2026 feels
I'm
safe.
thinking 26. Yeah, because all we saw is a teaser.
Yeah, and Xbox has the occasional, event that they do of their own. I believe they do a Spanish event as well, or in Mexico they do the like a Xbox celebration, I think in February and March. I know because I remember that was the first time I saw an ACG shirt in the crowd. A bunch of people had worn them to show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was very cool. I still have a GIF of that. It was awesome. But
that's cool.
I know that
I think Wolverine will come out before. Like I think Wolverine
prior to Blade. I mean, it's Blade, absolutely possible because it also it's possible. Yeah, it's yeah. I think that seems probable. Now that I think about it, I had not really compared those two, but. Moving on from there, let us discuss. So, I don't want to shine too much of not a happy light. I didn't mean that. Shine too much of any kind of light on this because I don't want them getting any news or data. But Insomniac got hacked, got ransomware. Yep. There's a leak now that apparently seems pretty realistic, which shows some Wolverine pictures as well as some emails, Yuri's home address, or some information on the main voice actor, and they've ransomwared something. I don't know how much data, but apparently they've ransomed a lot of data from Insomniac, and I think they asked for 20 million. Do you see them paying, or do you see them saying, "Listen, this is a part of gaming now, and fuck you, we're not, paying anybody"?
I don't know, man. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know.
Do you know of companies that pay? Because I know we've seen companies that pay. We have definitely seen that. Mm-hmm.
I feel like it would set a bad precedent.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what can they do? What other choice would they have?
So, yeah, the only choice is to say all this data is going to be out. Prep all your people. Make sure all your people know that. And you're taking on a lot of responsibility, right? You're taking on a ton of responsibility and information for your people, saying, "Hey, you might get doxxed. Hey, there's stuff that move. Yeah, hey, there's stuff that we've said in emails that may, because it looks like they have email accounts as well, and have got all the data from emails. They showed some email data too.
What if they have white hat hackers or like someone else that
hack the hack?
Hacks the hacker and then finds their IP and stuff, and then they can report them or call the cops and stuff.
Well, I do know that there's been a couple times where the code was sent to companies. There was some hospitals that were ransomwared, and another hacker group sent the code to the hospital to unlock their stuff because it was a hospital. From what I understand, this group goes after hospitals though, so they like have no issue with that, because I know that a lot of ransom groups, there's certain moral, stretchy, but moral designs they have, which is like, we won't go after a person, we won't go at, we're just going to go after a company, that kind of
Mr.
stuff.
Robot-esque.
Yeah. But I mean, regardless, it's like you pay. One of the things I have heard is that if you do pay, these guys know that by not adhering to whatever they promise, they have issues, so they end up usually always delivering the unlock and then never selling. The data is destroyed on there. Like, they do have that sort of moral stepping stone. I don't even know what you'd call it, but just sucks, man. It just, I mean,
it's a really terrible situation.
Yeah, and I don't know what their security is, but all these other companies right now are. The moment that popped up, that's one of the biggest developers in the world. And they've got connections to Marvel. They've got connections to Disney. So it's like you can bet that every other company is looking at that going, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wrath.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. If you have that much talent and that many companies and stuff, that should be stressful on the hackers as well. Not, you know what I mean? Those motherfuckers should fear shit, because I feel like
it bothers me, man, because well, I mean, ransomware is just cancer anyway, but it's become so difficult, and the cost is only ever returned when you get hacked. And so as somebody who's had to argue to get programmer time, saying this could happen doesn't work. It never works. So usually when I would say we need a programmer for this, here's the mistakes, and you have your bar charts and you have all your charts to explain to the person why we need 80 grand to pay for somebody to update security or pay for somebody to do this because these problems have happened in the past. It just sucks because it's really hard to sell it, man. It's really hard to sell passive defense. It's very, very hard because a lot of companies look at more what happened to us. Oh, we won't have this happen. I mean, I can't tell you how many team leads would say that to me. Be like, we need to do this. Oh, well, that won't happen here. You're like, it won't until it does. Yeah. And when it does, it's a zero-sum game at that point. You're both all your defenses won't matter. You need to have the defenses be there so that you're not an easy target. So it's almost like being the fastest runner when you're chased by Godzilla. You sort of need to make sure you are, because Godzilla will pick the fat friend and eat him. Yeah. And your stuff won't be hacked.
It's like DVT, that won't happen to me.
Yeah. Kale, $5 super chat. Oh, nope. I've already read that one. There was another one. Rude Gaming, $5 super chat. Has anyone here checked out Once Human in beta? I've been really enjoying it. Excited for the drop in Q3. Once Gaming.
Yeah, I've been looking at it.
Once Human.
Yeah, it's like a Daisy-like. I'll call them Daisy-likes. It's a new Daisy game, survival, apocalyptic, I don't know, that type of shit. But this one looks pretty unique, man, and it's kind of like a CP control kind of weirdness, paranatural, supernatural stuff, not like zombies and shit. There is building and stuff and fishing and whatnot, but I mean, from what I've seen, the gunplay looks pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of Remnant a little bit, not with the dodges and stuff, but with the way you kind of like shoot enemies. I watched KARAK-ACG play through the intro of it, which was very control-like, very weird. The voice acting isn't the best. There is some AI voice acting, or at least voice actors are supposed to be AI. I don't know, either one.
Okay, makes sense. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but from what I saw, it's just, and you have like a weird butterfly and like a BB thing in your back. It's just weirdness, SCP weirdness, but in a Daisy-like game. And it is in closed beta, and the systems, like a lot of what I saw, seems to be working for what it is for a closed beta. And it looks to be something promising for people who want that type of game, who haven't gotten a new game in that genre in a long while.
It just dawned on me. Somebody in chat did tell us it was open for a little bit, and I tried to get in. It was closed. So I have seen this now. I don't know why I think that name just doesn't. Once Human.
Once Human, yeah. Too Human.
Yeah, exactly. I think I even think Too Human for a brief millisecond when I see it. But I have checked it out. I tried to get in. A bunch of us did in yesterday's chat, actually, because we were told it was open and then closes in like 2 days or something. But it was closed for me. It just says follow. Yeah. So I wasn't able to jump in. Now. Okay, so it's closed, right? And maybe you have maybe people have a. I'll talk to Ko and see.
People
if he
have codes. Yeah, you can ask for codes. I'm pretty sure.
Let's see.
But yeah, it looks interesting because we've seen a lot of these clones, but never like this. This is a cool concept. Cool context.
It looks like they sort of stepped up the clone work.
Yeah, kind of stepped up the clone work and made it a little bit, added some more uniqueness to it. Cool looking world building.
Anybody in chat, have you checked that out, and what did you think of it? Or do you like DayZ? Or do you like those kind of games? Because some people just don't like those kind of games. I think for me, I know for sure. Overall, like them. They have to be more developed than an early access for me. I need a beta access almost before I start buying in.
And the problem with them a lot, especially if they have melee, a lot of the time the combat isn't satisfying or something. You know what I mean? Like, something about them is off. So when they really hammer in kind of tightness into that aspect, gets me more excited.
Rude Gaming says definitely worth checking out. Great game. If you're talking about that, if you're talking about Too Human, we're gonna have a discussion. You better be talking about Once Human. That's already a terrible name. Too Human and Once Human both having a number style. Once, two. Yeah, it's going to be an issue for me. So let's talk about the day before.
Okay, yeah. Okay, which part do you want to? I have some thoughts about it.
Yeah, go ahead. Just all thoughts. Just go. The day before, what did you think? What do you think about the cancellation?
So, okay, here's
everything?
the thing. A lot of people saying it's a scam. They took the money and ran and all that stuff. Listen, dude, it's a terrible game. They misadvertise. I guess you could call it scammy that they misadvertise or whatever. Maybe a very, very terribly executed scam. I don't think it's a scam. I do not think it's a scam. I think it was a very bad game. If it was a scam, they did not benefit at all from it. And they're allowing full refunds of the game. The publisher is. The company went under. They went to shit. They didn't make any money. They're not running away with any money. Maybe they I guess you could say like they got some investor money and stuff, but they have to pay it back. They're in debt now. So I don't think any part of that was a scam. I think they shot too high. And they're being, just incompetent. Incompetency exists without a conspiracy. And I think that's basically what it was, because if it was a scam, it just doesn't make sense in any metric. Like, I don't know what they gained
what's
from
the
it.
On a scam, somebody comes out the winner, and the question is where's the winner in this? What
worst,
did you get out of it?
Yeah, or yeah. Where's the winner? Yeah, so
yeah, I would say what I saw people play it. I didn't get to play it myself, but I saw it. Strangely enough, some people who were pretty prominent streamers actually not dissing on it, going, well, they were dissing on it, but they were like, hey, there might be something here, blah, blah. So that's what I heard, and I took away from it as, yeah, it's a very lean bones thing, but I'm accustomed to early access. And I would agree that, the scam part, I think, might not be the financial, just might be that every video and trailer they showed was leagues beyond anything that was delivered in the game. It reminds me of the PlayStation pretending that Killzone's footage was not CGI, and everybody who is anybody who even had brains was looking at it going, no, Matt, what are you talking about? Of course that's CGI. The guy's hair has more polygons than a game does. Like, it was ridiculous. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll just call it a scam in the fact that whatever they were presenting was incompetency. Obviously they were lying on that kind of stuff, and it's come and gone. I know that maybe they were hoping that they were going to get away with some refunds not being done, but we've seen the publisher and Valve, come forward and say, like, this is gone. They were, I'm sure, watching it. I mean, it was impossible to not know. Valve would have needed to know. If Valve crunches down, which it sounds like they are, I'd like Valve to crunch down on a lot of titles, because a lot of titles are like that. A lot of these games where you start playing them and you're like, it's always a spear and punching trees. And the early access, and you're like, come on, man, why early access? We believe that the culmination of data from our players. You're like, dude, seriously, that's a CDPR apology letter of early access announcements, right? Every time you go to Steam, early access. Why early access? Because it allows us to communicate. It's like, dude, knock it off.
Ever since 2013, ever since DayZ started it.
Yeah,
right?
Ever since DayZ started it. But with this in particular, so they've shut off the refund, or they've shut off the game. You can't buy it. Fully authorizing refunds. There might be some money there that they can get, but I would assume Steam has closed the financial account as well. That would be my guess, is that they've made it so that they can't pay out. Well, I mean, account from.
Because I think they have to wait a couple months.
They do
to pay them, in case of refunds and all that stuff or whatever. So they never received any money for sure. And even if they were trying to scam, like I don't think you can do that easily. Like, it's not like the market is just gonna answer. Like, you're just gonna get shit on.
People who
it's
are
not
on purpose informing the consumer of these issues, and Steam figured it out right away, and so did everybody else. So it's like,
the market just realizes, like, it's not like, it can't be that deep. And the thing about changing their name and stuff, like, sure, it looks fishy. Maybe they just wanna, the easiest thing to believe is just they want to get away from that name. They just want to be recognized as someone else, or whatever the fuck they want to do, or whatever their endeavors are, or changing management, changing names, changing companies, whatever the fuck they want to do. It's not like what you got to ask yourself, like, okay, this looks fishy. Why is it fishy? What would they gain from doing this? What would happen if they did this? You know what I mean? And sometimes you just got to accept the fact that it's just a simple thing and not like a crazy conspiracy, I think.
Yeah. The real conspiracy, I would say, if there is one, is that they possibly thought that they were going to live on the general apathy of purchasers. Yeah. And that it wouldn't get removed, and that the general apathy of refunding the general difficulty of refunding in some stores versus Valve, which is pretty easy for the most part. Maybe there was that. I don't know enough to say anything other than the end result is it's gone. People reported on it. Major companies know. All other companies now know. All the gamers know. I think the big worry is that, and I just sort of made the worry worse, but saying that, anything early access is a lie, which is not what I believe, even though I hate early access. But
sure.
I do think that you're going to get that more. And I even had somebody talking about the Watch Dogs trailer, and I'm like, listen, the differences between the Watch Dogs trailer and Watch Dogs versus this and their trailers the gulf is so huge that I don't even think it's a good comparison. And we're going to talk about really bad comparisons in a minute. But it's just what they were doing and what we got was a completely different result in this game than Watch Dogs, even though we can all about Watch Dogs.
Oh, yeah. Watch Dogs wasn't even close to this or Division or anything. We've definitely gotten that from bigger companies, but not that bad for sure. I just don't, sometimes it doesn't, I can't process how they released a statement, I think a day before came out, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, just us guys, we I don't know how they could sit there and say we've worked 5 years with our own blood, sweat, and tears and not be embarrassed, and just seeing it being like, is this a smart thing to say? We know our game is shit. Nobody can look at it. Maybe they have this creation or creative syndrome where, let's say you make a song and you think it's the best thing in the world, but it's actually really bad, but you think it's better because you're the one who created it.
Mm-hmm.
But that one, I don't know. It just seems too obvious to me that I don't know what would be going through in their heads. Maybe it's oh, we're releasing an early access. They'll excuse us. Early access doesn't have to be the best. I don't know what the fuck went through their heads, honestly. Sometimes it's just really weird.
Avoid the Void says, hello, sup, gang. What's up, man? Thank you for showing up. I will also say that shame or humility, or not even really humility, but shame, embarrassment, I have noticed is not as much of a thing anymore in the last couple years, even for fans, where I'll say something and somebody will say something that's patentedly it's the secondhand embarrassment where you're reading it going, seriously, you just wrote that? And there's no embarrassment at all. There's no, and Shameless. Let's be honest, man, as the years have progressed, you can say it's a social thing with awards for everybody showing up. You could combine it all into that. I don't necessarily think they're exactly aligning, but there is this it's almost like some people are held down by too much shame, and so they want things to be perfect. You get a Chris Roberts who's holding on till the last minute, and they get hammered, and rightfully so for various reasons. And then you get these guys who release nothing and have none, and there's a middle ground for most game companies where
it's just go ahead. It's just in this day and age, there's too many checks and balances to kind of big brain something like that and get away with it. If it were a scam,
there is a lot of checks and balances.
Like back in the day, you could the what do you call it? The ET happened and all that stuff. There was no online community. There was no internet. There was no awareness to what anything was gonna be and how people were gonna react to it. There was no Steam. There was no hub. And now it's just gaming is so huge that you can't get away with something like that easily. Or you can't at all, because there's a lot of, one of the biggest checks and balances is the refund, and then you got the reviews, and then you got people looking at it, and then you got publications, and you got so much shit where obviously consumers aren't going to buy a product that's not that's a lie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you even have it where they're attacking where it's not a lie, and so that's why if it was me and I was running them, I'd be like, we can't release this. People are attacking things that aren't even a lie. People are looking under a rock, looking at some texture and being like, all textures look this bad. And you're like, you're under a rock. They're saying nobody expects you to be under there looking up under the bridge. But and we attack that. So if we already know and everybody knows. One of the people was saying something here I want to point out, which is that this is Mango says, most people don't follow gaming companies. Simple as that. Casuals watch trailer and refund if they don't like it. This is not only true for this is true for the Chris Judge thing. So when Chris Judge said his joke about Call of Duty, I saw people saying, well, with the delay or with the big expose on what was said and all this stuff. How dare he? And I'm like, I'm not going to be anything other than, I guess you could say, a devil's advocate. There's a high chance that the guy who does voice acting for Kratos wasn't also doing research for 5 hours for a joke about Call of Duty's campaign. They probably played the game and it was short.
Yeah, that's it. It's not that deep.
I've been teased for a year about a super long speech, so much so that I was teased live during this recent one. And so this joke about Call of Duty's campaign being short seems to fit with the overall thought process, and wasn't sitting there going, I need to investigate every single thing said about it. Instead, the output was short and his output was long and the joke was made.
Funny.
And because, dude, that's happened to me where, like I said, I've been banned for a forum for thumbs upping someone and found out that a year prior they said something negative, and that's why I was banned.
Oh,
and I'm
my
like,
God.
what are we talking about? I'm not able to do that research for that at some point. What's the output, and is it so worthy of damnation? And then I don't know if you saw, but all the people who complained turned around yesterday and stated, oh, I guess people didn't realize we were just joking and Chris's joke was funny. And that was the people who were complaining. And I was like,
interesting.
Best to just walk away. I saw devs
get pissy about it too. It's
they
like,
did,
dude,
but all the devs that got pissy reversed yesterday on Twitter.
That's weird. Just own up to it, dude. It was a short fucking campaign. Like, it's true. It's funny. It's funny to exaggerate like that.
If you were complaining, own up to that. Leave it.
Oh, yeah,
move
that too.
on.
Yeah.
Internet's got long memory on some things and very short on others. Unfortunately, when TB passed away, I saw people who still work at 3 major companies celebrating his death. And you can bet your ass I've got all 3 of those on a list. And it's like, because that is real. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Bitching about a 3-hour campaign in a game that was factually correct, that's one thing. But, celebrating someone's passing away, fuck you. I don't care who it is.
That's the difference between a real issue and some like crossing the line versus a funny joke. Who's defending COD out of it? Like, we all know they don't respect their players, dude. Like, it's not like, I don't know.
At least when it comes to the campaign, they don't, and their length, and that's
at least the campaign and the money, the microtransactions and all, battle passes and shit.
I put up a poll. 100 people voted. Did you play Days before? 3% said.
Did anybody?
3% said yes. So out of 100, you're talking,
I was hoping it would be good. Okay, I was hoping.
I was hoping. Oh yeah, dude.
I want a new DayZ. I hope every game to be good. Honestly,
exactly.
I don't care who made it.
Exactly.
I don't care who made it.
I'll give every game a chance. When I first get it, because you never quite know. I had somebody get mad at me for reviewing House Flipper, and they were saying, "You have this huge amount of people who follow you. Why didn't you shine the light on a smaller game?" And I'm like, I don't generate the codes. If I don't have a code for a smaller game, what exactly is a review if I'm not playing? Like, what are you talking about? I got a code for House Flipper, so House Flipper was reviewed.
Sure.
It's such an odd thing of what people want to put their foot down for and what people aren't thinking through right now. And I think it does happen to me too, where we'll jump on something. We've been wrong too. So it's not like we're perfect, but it does seem like the general thought process needs to be a little longer for some of the complaints. Just a tiny bit. Put a little bit more thought.
Yeah, I agree.
Bit more thought. I got kicked from this is Aston saying, I got kicked from a Discord for being excited for Hogwarts Legacy. They called it the Blood Libel game.
Oh no.
What's Blood Libel?
I don't know, but I'm making some connections in my head, but it sounds, I don't know, maybe like because of the the author thing.
Yeah, but
maybe
Blood Libel,
I don't know.
Maybe it's a play on Hogwarts Legacy, but anyway, whatever. You'll get people like that want to control the message, and it's unfortunate, but it happens. Day before, anything else that we want to talk about for days? Day before, day before. No,
but it's funny. Stuff like this is funny. It's a story to tell. Like it's remember the day before. It's kind of like it kind of brings me back. Nostalgia, like. Early
and it's also, we see all this stuff, we got it. The best impression I can come away with it is I have a couple things now that another data point for a Cyberpunk style situation, but one that I feel was easier to even notice than Cyberpunk was. So it's like, okay, you have these data points for moving forward. And that's pretty much all you should hold. You shouldn't, if you let it grind you down and you think that everything is going to be that way, you're going to have a hard time celebrating your current love, whatever it may be.
Yeah, live in the moment.
Yeah, so the next thing up is Indiana Jones exclusivity. So this has become, because Blade didn't show that they were exclusive on their trailer, people blew up. Now, I didn't even look for that. I know, I forgot that that's a thing, that like that means worth, I guess. So I didn't notice it. That blew up. And then Indiana Jones came back because they also didn't. And people are like,
why? I mean, they're in Bethesda's.
Yeah, but it's Indiana Jones, and people think they own the IP, even though they don't. Fans believe they own that.
What about Spider-Man, though?
Listen, I'm just saying.
It's like such a household name.
I'm just saying what I'm reading.
Gotcha.
And certainly, Spider-Man is certainly a bigger industry than Indiana Jones probably ever was,
easily.
and certainly is now. But
Indiana was a little bit more niche.
Yeah. So there's a discussion about the exclusivity for Indiana Jones. Personally, I think that it would be fine on everything. I would have no issue with that. I also have no issue if Microsoft chooses to have that be exclusive for them. But I would say this. We haven't seen anything on Indiana Jones at all.
Yeah.
There was supposedly,
and to be honest,
I was just going to say, supposedly there's supposed to be a trailer and it wasn't shown. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, and to add to that, like, I know I've been saying, okay, why shouldn't they have exclusive and stuff? To be clear, I wish there was no exclusivity at all for anyone. Okay, I wish every single game came out on every single platform. That's where I stand. This is like the ideal world for anyone to be able to play anything. Okay, but when I say that is because there's not a bias, kind of like a double standard here, which I see is weird, because it seems to me that a lot of the reasoning of people saying Sony is better is because of the exclusives. So to go back on that and saying nothing should be exclusive, on Xbox seems wild to me. Yeah.
Well, and it's also just the thought process of I think that sometimes people don't choose the right time to discuss something, and so when you look at a situation like this, that might be your wish, is that every game came out on everything. But
yeah, for sure,
that is not the reality.
Not reality.
So
no,
if I did a
no.
video calling saying I wish everything was released on everything, I would talk in a certain way that would be different than a podcast where we talk the positives and negatives of them coming out on everything. But a lot of people just put their foot down, and it's like the reality is not that. It's not going to be that.
Yeah, of course not. And never.
Yeah. You're just going to have to face it. Indiana Jones to me isn't super exciting, but that's because I haven't seen anything, folks. And I think we're past this time frame where we should have seen something. So I also believe there might be a reason why we're not seeing that. Why we're not
scrapping ideas and stuff.
They might be maybe it's been remade at least once. The stories of a rejiggering has happened. Indio says everyone was calling out the days before when they posted their butt cheek featuring gameplay trailer. I'm surprised more didn't see it coming. I think a lot of people saw it coming and hoped it wasn't. That I'm just sort of guessing on that, but
like there were a lot of trailers that gave us super red flags, but then towards the end of it, we were even talking about it. We were like, "Yo, what if it is good? What if that happens?" Because it's always a possibility. Yeah, but
Ravno says, "Sorry, I was away from keyboard. Who died and who celebrated it?" You can go back and look. People were celebrating that TB had passed away, and it's just fuck them. And I'm sorry, but there's very few times where I will not cover a game because of what somebody said or what. I'm just like, whatever. I say if they made a game and there were other people working on it, I would still cover the game. But I can tell you what, they certainly won't get retweets and they certainly will get lambasted a couple times. Unfortunately, I do know their names, but they're on a document that I have that is quite literally basically my blacklist for Twitter, which is very few people, probably only 6 in total. And it's all around that kind of stuff, the really egregious, like you are a POS kind of human. And I want to make sure. Let's see. Nintendo will kidnap you in your sleep for having such thoughts. Oh, putting these games on others? Yeah. Ravno says, Abzy. He says, Abzy. Abzy.
Hello.
Abzy.
Hi.
If there was no exclusives, then why have multiple consoles?
It's a good question.
That is a good question.
I think it's so ingrained, and it's so ingrained that exclusivity is like the console selling point, and that's like for sure a thing with a lot of people. But a lot of people's selling point, as we said before, like PlayStation sells way more than Xbox. Not because I don't think the major reason is exclusivity, other than like the gamers, like the online gamers and Sony players and stuff. But a lot of people I know just whether it be the comfort, the controller, just because their friends have it, just because
features of some
that's
kind,
what they're used to, features of some kind. PS3 was like the Blu-ray player, you know, Xbox has Game Pass, you know, there's a lot of different things, but that is a question to ask for sure.
That's why if you look at the hardware manufacturers for motherboards, they all make sure their motherboard works with an AMD, right? But they all have different features. If we were living in the perfect world, it'd be that the consoles offered different features, but the game was on all of them. And the feature may be special upscaling on one with a chip and special controller inputs with this and special this with that. And so then, but that would almost be even more difficult, because then can you imagine like opening up a spreadsheet for a game that was coming on both consoles and one had a completely different this, one had a complete, you know, so it's the hell we know right now versus the hell we don't know. How itemized would situations be if every game was on everything? You know, because those console companies probably would still want to release. They would still want their, because remember, they treat your PlayStation and Xbox like their own digital storefronts. That's what they are.
Yes.
They're like there to be.
They're a gateway into their
They're
ecosystem.
a gateway into that ecosystem, and so if the ecosystem changes away from exclusives, that ecosystem, could it be, and by the way, I believe this for sure would happen, very exclusive skins, which we've already seen before. You got your Xbox skin, Halo or Master Chief's and Assassin's Creed on this one. Oh, Kratos is in this Assassin's Creed.
Soul Calibur.
Dude, yeah. Oh, Soul Calibur was the worst because I had the Xbox version, which had Yoda and not Darth Vader.
Which had Yoda. Me too. I wanted to be Darth Vader. Fuck those guys.
Guys, I got an idea.
Because Yoda's
like,
green,
all
dude. Because Yoda's green and Darth Vader's black. Like
you could have done Darth Vader, and you could have done, you know, like Kwai Jong or whatever his name is, Kwai Jing or Kwai Wong or whatever his name is. I like that guy. You could have done, or you could have done, you know, Kenobi or something. I don't know. Like Yoda was just.
But Yoda had a cool moveset, dude. He was like fucking flipping everywhere and shit, doing the crazy wild shit.
Angry, pissy chipmunks with a lightsaber, it's cool. But I got to admit, the idea of Darth Vader. If you said Darth Vader or Yoda, you want to play him in a game, I can't see Yoda ever showing up. You know, like just. To me, it would be a thing.
In Battlefront, dude, Yoda is fun, man. You flip around and shit. It's
well, I'm not saying he's not fun. I'm saying for a purchase reason. The reason to purchase. The reason to purchase the
Vader
cool
is
factor.
Probably a more
imagine the Emperor and Vader. The Emperor's got some lightning. He's got his lightsaber because the Emperor is actually a pretty badass lightsaber fighter, as we saw in the Rise of the Sith or Revenge of the Sith or whatever it was. So the idea of having the cool factor would be Darth Vader and Palpatine. It wouldn't be Darth Vader and fucking Yoda. You might as well just get Uncle Ben or whatever and throw him out there, you know, or whoever his uncle was.
That much, Uncle Ben, Jesus.
What? Yeah, I mean, who would? Or Princess Leia? Like, who gives a shit? And Princess Leia swung one lightsaber in her entire life. I don't know. I like the idea of Yoda, but not in that. I'm sure everybody's mad about that because I'm sure we're gonna be the one podcast that has a ton of people who fucking
any Yoda,
like Yoda
purists.
Yeah, any Yoda purists in this podcast? Probably, and I wasn't reading it right. And there's a bunch of people. Anything for the day before console exclusivity or likewise that before we move on from there?
No, it's just annoying shit all the time on Twitter, like about console exclusivity. That I see all the time. That's just I'm so you know, there's a feature on Twitter. Every time I see like a console warrior post, I click not interested in this post. I've been doing that to every console warrior post, but they still pop up. It's not working.
Yeah, not working. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They don't care.
They don't give a fuck.
That is such a non research scientist way of doing things, where you know you hear about a test for a new medication. And you're like, oh, wow, 100% of people, you know, had no cancer at the end. And then you read the small print, 100% of people didn't have cancer at the start. And you're like, what the fuck were they testing for? That, you know, so that kind of hit the button. That doesn't happen on YouTube Shorts either. I'll be like, I do not want to see this porn star with super tight biker shorts riding a Segway. And she shows up all the time. And I'm like, what in the... I'll ban that channel. And somebody will post that video on their Shorts channel. And it'll pop up anyway. And I'm like, obviously, this isn't working. Jaroka, speaking of things that are not working, you did 2 super chats, one for $2, the other for $2, but you only asked questions on one. if you didn't mean to do that question, if you meant to do the question on the first one, ask another question and we'll give it to you. It looks like YouTube currently, from what I saw, can't refund super chats. I tried it with Luke and it didn't work. So if you have another question, feel free to answer or ask another one. But your question here, are you going to be checking out Asgard's Wrath 2? That's the VR game. I am. It looks cool. I like the idea of it. I think that overall it's exactly what I want from a VR game. It doesn't mean it's a AAA. It doesn't mean anything like that. But I'm excited to check it out. Did you see any of the previews for it? There's a trailer, I think, in the Game Awards.
Just the one in the Game Awards. Okay. Yeah, just that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely want to do it. But we'll just have to see. I think with VR right now, I'm at a point where love VR, continue to push it, the developers at least. But I think in the end, I've been pretty let down by VR as a whole. No real other way to.
Yeah, same. I sold mine. Yeah, or not sold mine. I don't. Yeah, I sold mine. I think. Yeah.
Or gave it away. Donated it.
Probably
Alex,
gave it away. Lenovo Legion. Yeah. Or no, Lenovo VR. Yeah.
Alex says, we talk more about BLADE. We did talk about Blade, and any details on Fallout 4. No, the only thing I heard was that Fallout 4's their update, their remake, whatever, their remaster has been delayed until next year for Fallout 4.
Yeah, probably when the show comes out, right?
Oh. That would, yeah, I think that would be really smart. Because there was another show that we were talking about, I can't remember what it was, where we felt the game came out too late. The show was out for a year. What was that? There was another one where we were like, if they had, maybe it was The Expanse. Maybe it was The Expanse, where I was like, if this had come out during the heat of The Expanse, man, it could have been, I mean, it could have exploded. Because
you saw what happened with Witcher and Cyberpunk numbers, too.
Yeah. Yeah, Edge Runners, right? Exploded Cyberpunk prior to the new patch, I think.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like it obviously works. I think that'd be great, man. I do want to see anything that we can get from an update.
Hopefully it's not just like the paid mod update, right? Hopefully they do a significant one.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, I don't know what we'll get from them when it comes to an update, and I don't know if it'll be amazing, but I do know that for the most part I want to check it out because I like Fallout, man. I like all the Fallouts. I think they're awesome.
Yeah, I love that world is amazing. It's fun.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions, feel free to post them. I'm going to jump to the next topic here. No more E3.
Oh, yeah. Sad times.
Yeah, did you see Kojima wrote something actually understandable for once?
Oh, shit. Did he actually?
He did. And he wrote how he got a standing ovation during, I think it was Metal Gear Solid 1 or what have you, and he was talking about how it was such a great place to get those, like we said right at the starting of the show, it was a great place to get eyes on some games. Smaller games, and that I do feel is going to be missed pretty harshly with E3 gone.
Yeah, we're just getting the whole community together, just in one place for a couple days.
Yeah, I mean, I put it as the title, but I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier, and there's really not much more to talk about when it comes to E3. It was canceled. There was a rumor that they were selling the name, the trademark, the whatever to another company, and I got to say, I actually don't have a problem with that. If, let's say, somebody comes along who wants to do a different style of E3, I would be into that because I love the idea of more games being shown without a... So let me explain this. We already have an issue with the Game Awards. Jeff Keighley, the movie stars, blah, 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 which we can talk about later. But you've got this negative connotation where E3, there was some negativity, but it was like everybody was there. The three main platform holders were there. Each of the companies got to show stuff. Indie companies got to show stuff on the floor. Any disregard I have towards E3, none of it is based around coverage, which was awesome. And that, to me, is where I want to see the smaller indie devs, the AA's, the Banished, the Vampire 2, Nightingale, where we would see that content. And that would be exciting. I actually like the idea of an E3. That's just me.
Yeah, me too. I mean, and the situation, like them shutting down for me makes sense, but it's sad. Like I understand it completely. It makes sense why it's not like viable anymore or whatever. But I'm still sad about it. Yeah, as you said, it's just like just like that, everyone comes together. That is like the biggest thing, where I love the idea of like, who's showing stuff at 6 p.m. Oh, who's showing stuff tomorrow at like 2 p.m. You know what I mean? Like, which one should we go to now? There was like a panel here, by the way. Oh, IGN interviewed this person. You know what I mean? Like, look at this, tune into that. I love that. Not just like a one show, 2 hour, 3 hour show. You know what I mean?
Dude, there's people that didn't get in the Game Awards, and there's people who did that could have been at E3. Imagine that too. So now you have more space for the awards to do trailers of smaller games, or the awards. You are called the awards show. So put those awards back on and spread out those trailers. You got some E3 people. I like the big grouping in the summer. And like I said, I think Summerfest or whatever it's called that they do on Twitch, and I think it's like for 2 weeks, but then it becomes even hard to track there. But E3 was such a big name. I liked having 2 a year. It felt like, oh man, we're jumping over here. We've got this awesome stuff in the summer. And you go to the winter, things can be tracked a little easier. It sucks, man. It sucks. Are you going to miss the Who Won E3 articles? No, I will not. No, I will not. That sucks. Yeah, the E3, like Who Won E3 makes. If in fact, I would say who was winning E3 would be the smaller companies that got coverage that currently just can't get coverage. I was looking at a game that did a trailer 2 days ago. Game looks phenomenal. 313 views in 3 days.
Which one? The steampunk one?
No, but that one too. The one I talked in my review, Sovereign.
That one piqued my interest.
Yeah,
Sovereign. Something Sanctuary.
Sovereign. Sovereign Sanctuary, I believe.
Yeah.
That one didn't get a ton either. And so all of these smaller devs who are releasing on their channels, which are being overwrought and watched less than, the chick showing her labia riding a Segway. That's just one more place where they can't say, here's a big event and here's our stuff. And I
went onto their YouTube account, and they have like barely any subs, barely any views and stuff, but they documented like their whole dev process. They did like all these dev diaries for people that want to get into game development and just curious, and just being super transparent with everything, and it's really, really cool. Watched a few of them.
Christopher Jetter says, ACG, what's your main disappointment with VR? Apps, games. It's not a disappointment towards them because it costs a lot. The hardware, I have some, but the Pico is pretty awesome. Pico was pretty great, super comfortable, super light, and it just didn't have the games. VR doesn't have the games. PlayStation's shown that already with their just absolutely piss poor support for it. We knew it was going to be piss poor, despite people trying to pretend like it was going to be the next coming. It's like, it will be piss poor.
Why spend resources on it, when you can spend resources on a game that everyone will be able to buy, and not just VR owners, which make up like a tiny minority.
And this brings us to a weird discussion. I feel this firmly in my boner, not my bones, but my boner, that Fortnite is doing better metaverse stuff than Metaverse.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I was thinking about that earlier. I swear to God, I was thinking about that.
It's nuts.
Yeah,
I was watching people, the excitement. I'm not a Fortnite fan, so I want to make sure anybody listening.
Yeah,
I'm not
neither.
a Fortnite fan.
Yeah.
The excitement in my Discord, we had so many people in there streaming Lego in Fortnite and just Lego, having a genuinely wholesome. They were like, this is legitimately fun. They were doing the racing game. And it's just the front end of Fortnite to get to all that, but it's very intelligent. And it's showing. And by the way, I think people were saying some of your Rocket League stuff goes in to the racing one. There was some discussion around that, and I didn't track it very clearly. But that's the way to do a metaverse. Opposite what Funkmaster Flex, whoever the fucking meta guy is, the drone. He looks like a robot. What's his name? The guy who runs Facebook.
Mark
Zuckerberg. You got the Zuck. Awesome hardware, and then actively states we don't have anything ready for it. And then Fortnite's like, well, we don't have any hardware. We've got our front end, but here's 3 other what I would consider to be legitimately good games. Like legitimately good experiences. Go ahead.
Dude, I was watching like this there's this guy on YouTube, or these multiple people on YouTube who do these like they're pro Guitar Hero. They have this game now that you can, there's like player created music and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's Guitar Hero,
genuinely it's Rock Band, like full on.
Yep.
And they're including instrument support next year, and maybe they'll make their own instruments. But holy shit, I in my opinion, I think maybe you'll see more also user-generated content there. I think the inclusion of UEFN alone is just like a huge. I think it's literally UEFN. I think is literally one of the best things that has happened in the industry. I'm not even exaggerating. Because
UEFN? What is it?
It's Unreal Engine Fortnite. I think it stands for. It's
right. I got what you're saying.
With the popularity of
they've
Fortnite,
created for people to build these things.
Yeah, like a Roblox thing, right? Where anyone can, and just having that type of thing in a game that is so widely, there's a lot of children and a lot of, everybody knows Fortnite, and to have that kind of support is ridiculously good, and to allow all these, maybe people, teens and younger that aren't, that want to get into maybe game development or discover that they like game development or level design or whatever, just do a kind of simpler Unreal Engine. I mean, some dude created a whole like a backrooms thing, horror game, and it like the shit you can do in it is insane. So I think that's just like literally one of the best things that's happened.
Sovereign Syndicate, by the way, was the game that we were talking about.
Sovereign Syndicate.
Sovereign Syndicate. Yeah, if anybody wants to check it out, I did a January, but you can ignore me. Go to their website, Sovereign Syndicate. It's a CRPG that uses tarot cards and has a very Disco Elysium style system with 3 of the craziest protagonists I've ever seen: an alcoholic, orphaned minotaur, a robot who's tired of being a slave, and the generic character, I would say, which is a warrior, ex-female, or not an ex-female, but an ex-warrior female character that's more your generic, I think, main style of character you would expect. But anyway, back to that. Yeah, dude, I gotta say, man, I mean, somebody just said they're playing it and watching us right now in our Discord. It's ridiculous. It's like watching them play. And by the way, Lego, holy shit, does it look good graphically. My God, man. I was watching Wannabe Dev run across the landscape, and it looked like almost Avatar, where it was just consistent foliage. It was a beautiful trees, beautiful all this stuff, but it just happened to be Lego characters. And I'm like, dude,
it's a survival game, right?
And it's a survival game, yeah. That's cool. Man. One guy was who was it? I think Jameson, the other guy, he was doing the building of the fort, like this fortress that he was making, while Wannabe Dev was just running around killing things and bringing supplies back. And I was like, man. And they got in.
That's so cool, huh?
Because of Fortnite, all the matchmaking is done via all the systems they know work. So they got into it in 0 seconds, and it worked the entire time because they're using the back end that already they know works. So it's none of this test. You know how some games, they look good, but they feel like a test for the technology? Like, voice chat doesn't work, or this doesn't work, or
they full-assed this one.
Yeah, they full-assed it. Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, I mean, and the racing looked phenomenal, man.
Yeah,
what is that called?
The Rocket League one. I don't know what it's called.
Racer or whatever. That thing. I was watching people play that, going, man, that was sweet looking. Like the drifting was spot on. Everything about it looked control-wise really good. Graphics-wise, I was stunned that it looked that good. I want to see more stuff. We can talk about there's multiple things I hate about that company, but I'm not going to hate on those games.
Yeah, sure. But like, also like, it's just I know there's like microtransactions and stuff, but it's such a cool thing to have this one unified, like we have Smash Bros and stuff that unifies like mostly Nintendo games and a couple others. And we have like, we got like those random other Smash-like games that had like Nickelodeon stuff. And just Fortnite has like almost everything. Like to see Goku battle fucking Peter Griffin.
In the Guitar Hero one, right?
Guitar Hero 1 and the normal game, like and seeing Peter
Eminem
go like
showed up or whatever in
Fortnite. Or Travis Scott or whatever. It's just this one unified thing that is insanely popular, and they it's just cool.
Got a chat. This is asking. Hang on, it's asking about Patreon. Yes, you can. By the way, we did turn off the delay, so if you become a patron, you can join the Discord right away. I haven't deleted it from the warnings on the patron page. We used to have a 48-hour thing because we had a lot of trouble with administration in the Discord. But, well, not administration, people coming in to be a dick. Did you see, I don't know if you saw this, Patron, without telling me, I never got an alert, Patron made a free level in Patron. And, which is great because it's just data. But if you don't go in and set it, they can get all the stuff from everybody else. And you're just
from the paid.
Yeah,
oh
and
my
I didn't
God.
know about it. I was like, why am I getting all these like free members who are like getting the data for the people who are paying? And I was looking going,
that sucks, man.
Come on, man. Come on. Patreon.
Why would they set it like that?
Dude,
why would they default it?
They hate us.
Yeah.
They hate the creator. It is ridiculous how terrible.
I heard there's like better alternatives now, like coffee or whatever.
Yeah,
people are like,
you know, like Buy Me a Coffee, the website for like the
donation. KOFI, I think.
Oh, is that what it is? I haven't checked that one out. There's always a supposedly better way, but a lot of people, regardless of their hate for patrons, still join it because it's the big name.
Yeah, big name. Yeah.
Speaking of big names, so Fortnite does this. They've got Guitar Hero, which is adding the ability to use the old guitars. I'm not quite sure how many people are sitting on a bunch of rock band guitars.
Yeah, or are they gonna make new ones? Like, would you think?
That's what I was wondering, because they said they're gonna allow the instrument, but it's like, or a third-party company sell that license. Let somebody who's a 3D print them. Let's like, is there let a company make them, just sell it to and see if maybe you can get it for $49.99. With the cost of these things lately, with the Xbox controller, I'm thinking more $89. But
true,
yeah, I love it, man. I was really excited to see it, and I think the metaverse stuff is not about walking around. It's not about walking around. It's about going to a place, almost like the Xbox is its own metaverse, Switch. You know, they get you into their stuff. Fortnite, though, skips all the rigmarole, and it's like you get in and play games, which I think is the important part that PlayStation Home missed. PlayStation Home was like, you can walk for 20 minutes and then go to a fake PC and open up your game. And you're like, dude, what? No, man,
that Second Life thing, like, there just doesn't work. I mean, there is Second Life. It's there. I think, what you said, like, even Roblox, you know what I mean? Like, Roblox had all those stuff like that. Yeah. And it's just the idea of, again, UEFN and stuff. It's just like continuous player created content. Like, somebody made like a Squid Game, other people make like a Among Us or whatever. It's just it's just like an infinite supply of new stuff all the time,
great,
and from the devs themselves. Yeah,
that's great. I didn't even know they called it that. So it's UEFN.
UEFN. Yeah, let me see what it stands for.
And that, I'm assuming, is the term for their front end in Unreal, specifically for Fortnite, and it's
Unreal Editor for Fortnite. Yeah,
awesome. Yep. Smart too, because that means they'll support it because they want it to continue. You know, that's great stuff, man. I love the idea of it. Ravno says, I do not comprehend Fortnite. Trailers look amazing when I watch streams, and it's just boring battle royale stuff. I mean, I get it. I do get.
Yeah, the main game I'm not interested in the main, like, the battle royale.
Neither am I.
Yeah, not at all.
But you know what I am interested in? The idea of jumping in there and having what I would consider to be fun experiences that don't have to be full games. And then if maybe people show that they want that full game, then I also love the idea of, having skins in Rocket League, and boom, you hit a button and they're in the Rocket League racer. I was told that Lego took in some skins too, and that your skin for a character, your avatar or something, shows up, and it's a choosable one in the Lego game. I'm all for that, man.
Yeah, same with like the Rock Band. Like, you could be rock banding with your your skin,
like you said.
Or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's a skin you buy then. If you want to get a family dude, you buy his skin.
I don't know how does it work now. I guess there's Battle Pass, and then there's V-Bucks where you could just outright purchase them. I don't know how else. Can you grind for them in some way without purchasing?
I was told that some stuff you can't grind for, which that's definitely becomes
makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's not what we want,
Yeah.
Even if
it's a free game, so I don't know.
Yeah, see, that is the thing. At some point, if it's free, it's like you got to figure out a way to make some money from it. Things aren't.
I mean, they're funding
free.
They give us enough stuff people. That's free. From Unreal Engine to all these modes and stuff. So, I don't see a big problem with the microtransactions there.
Do you play Fortnite? Yes, 13%. No, 87%. Damn, son.
87% no. Yeah, I don't think our community are huge Fortnite players. We're more.
Well, we need to get into nerdier, the numbers. I need to do some Fortnite vids, man.
I don't even play Fortnite.
Neither do I.
Touched it.
I don't think anybody in our. I don't even think Johnny or Silver play as well, because we were talking on Friday about all the different games we play, and I don't think I heard anybody mention Fortnite.
Yeah.
Fortnite doesn't necessarily skew younger. It just skews a certain type of gamer.
Yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure. No, there's older people playing it. I've seen someone that walked into a store the other day. He was around 20, in his late 20s, early 30s, maybe, asking for wants to buy a PC that could play Fortnite.
Johnny DM'd me while we were doing this podcast and states the following. I just wrapped up Justified. Damn if I didn't get a bit sentimental at their final exchange. Good for you, Johnny. Good shows matter. I'm glad that you got a chance to actually check that out. You still haven't checked out Justified, though, right?
No, not yet. No.
Yeah. Let's look at some more questions. Jeez. Okay. No, let's look at our topics first. God of War Valhalla. Okay. So.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
I have not talked to anybody who's played it.
I played it.
What is it? Like, what does
sick,
it feel like?
Dude. It's so dope. It's way more than I thought it was gonna be.
Setup then of what if it's so dope.
I would pay $20. Setup?
Oh,
it's a roguelike. It's a roguelike,
right? But what do you have your stuff? Do you start with skills? Do you build those skills?
So you have all your you know how you have like a whole skill tree of like the 3 different weapons, and you can get combos and stuff for those weapons and all that stuff. You have all of those, but you don't have gear. Like, you don't have any gear, you don't have anything else. But what happens is that you start off and you go into a run and you gain upgrades and stuff, and it's there's a lot more systems than I thought. So you gain upgrades and shit within the run, and then you can earn currency that you can spend outside for permanent upgrades, and then you can upgrade your character, and you can upgrade the roguelike itself, like the systems in there, like what it offers. You know what I mean? You can those upgrade paths. There's goals that you can complete that unlock new cosmetics and stuff, and currencies, and you use those to upgrade. But what really blew my mind as well is there's a lot of story there. There's a lot of new voice acting, new cutscenes, mocap, a lot of voice acting.
Is it longer than
even heard some new
hours?
tracks? Oh yeah. It's longer than 3.5 hours. It's longer than the COD campaign for sure. Especially if you're playing on harder difficulty. The thing with roguelikes is that you don't start out very strong. You're gonna die, you're gonna repeat, you're gonna die, you're gonna get stronger, you're gonna learn the game better. And I'm just very, very impressed because again, not only are there a lot of new stuff that they made for the game in terms of systems and gameplay and the way the game works, there's also a ton of work, a ton of actual story, and if you're like a old school God of War fan especially, it's a lot of stuff for you there. There's a lot of meat, and it's free, and I would have easily paid $20 for it. Easily paid $20 for it. It's insane. It's insane. Yeah.
So would you say then that it feels like when you jump into it a full thing? Like, does it feel? It doesn't feel like a tacked on.
It doesn't
thing.
feel tacked on. No. It doesn't feel tacked on. It feels like a side adventure for Kratos, and you don't have a sidekick or a kid there. You're just you. You're just you fighting enemies, and I like that. It's a callback.
Yeah, I was told that there was a great deal of story, and that there was going to be some new voice acting. And I mean, obviously, he talks right at the starting, so the assumption was there's going to be a little bit going on. So
there's a lot.
That's cool.
A lot of voice acting, dude.
And you get different like weapon skins, or
you get you first of all you have like a lot of different types of upgrades. Some that change like what weapons do. Like one of them was like the combo of the axe now releases like at the end of the combo you release like a thing.
Like a
there's
AOE?
like a new like an AOE or something, like like a thing that shoots. You can focus on one weapon. You can focus on a lot of different things. Make up your own like little build. You can unlock weapon skins and stuff like that. There's I'm not gonna say anymore, but there's some spoilery stuff. But there's really cool shit that I feel like if you're like a God of War fan, it's gonna blow. Like, it's really fucking cool.
Is this prior or after God of War?
After the story. So definitely, if you haven't done Ragnarok yet, you should finish the story because this is what happens after.
Okay.
It's more of like how there was a send off for like certain types of characters in the main game. This is like more of a send off for Kratos. More
Rude Gaming, $2. Does Abzi have his own YouTube channel? No, he does not. The only person who streams currently is he's got a Twitter. What is it?
Absi, so ABSSII _. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking, maybe in the future there is like other types of content I'm putting out other than gaming that I want to do. But like maybe in the future, if I decide to, I've always wanted to do like a funny ass edit type thing. Maybe not, you know what I mean? But not like a focus. I have a lot of shit.
All things are plans until they're not.
Yeah,
it's so easy to like, I'm gonna do this, and then you start doing it. You
so
find
easy,
some
so easy.
stymie, something that slows you down. You're like, oh,
yeah, and then you lose all hope, right?
Yeah.
Where like for example, once I had like this idea for a really really cool type of video, and I was like mid making it, and then I saw that it's already out there, where it just crushes my soul. Where it's like, oh
yeah, it's hard to do something brand new, whether it be games, creating around games, creating around anything. Yeah. It's very hard to do something new. It just sort of dies out so quickly. Your hope, especially if you see some niche that you think is going to explode or whatever, and then you start looking at it and it's either time or its audience size isn't big, and you're like, oh, that's if you want to get into it for a financial reason or see success. Sometimes people just want to get into it to create random things. That's why I think streaming's good if somebody just wants companionship in a weird way. But then if you see somebody streaming to nobody, that can suck too. You get
that can
8
suck
people,
a lot, yeah.
And you're just like, and they're 8 great people, but it's like, if you don't see growth, I know a lot of people get really, that depression. We talked about it in the chat yesterday. I've seen people jump in our Discord and they'll stream to themselves. And they were in my chat yesterday with all of us. And I said, by the way, people, don't ever stream to yourself. Find somebody that you have liked their streams and they've liked yours. And then say, just like I do to you, jumping into chat in 30, do you want to go in? If you said no, there's a good chance I wouldn't sit and chat alone, because then people start to wonder if some special event is going on. And so even in Discords where it's all cultivated around games, it can be quite difficult to understand why nobody's there or what have you. I always say, load it up. I did it with my channel when I switched names. I told all my friends, I'm like, hey, can you make sure to subscribe to the new channel, blah, 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 tweet it out, what have you, so it doesn't feel so lonely. Because that can suck.
I that's what you said about like, hey, do you want to hop on chat? It's like, it's so true about even when I used to stream, where I was seeing growth in streaming, and I just stopped because some shit was going on in life. But I should have continued for sure. I was seeing like some really good ass growth. But it's true, like just started it as like hey, I want to stream to my friends and stuff. It's like a thing where you just it's better to think about it that way than like, hey, I want to make it big now, and I'm just gonna start stream. I'm just gonna hit the stream button and expect people to find me.
That's one of the reasons why, regardless if it's mine or anybody's, if you have a Discord where a bunch of people are streaming, they can work through the idiosyncrasies of streaming before going live. Yeah. So you don't jump in learning all that shit, because I'm gonna tell you right now, it doesn't take much. If you jump in and somebody's just learning stuff, it's quite quickly you can just be like, I'm not going to watch this person again. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know the basics or what have you, and it's very easy to move on from there. But so with roguelike for this is free, God of War. It's out now. You guys should check it out. I've been hearing all positive stuff about it. I don't think anybody expected something negative from them. Feels to me like
I was expecting like literally like an arena mode. Like, hey, this is an arena mode. You can go in there.
More than you expected.
Like a little roguelike. Way more. Way more. Way more than I expected, yeah, for sure.
Oregon Fresh says, the invites to chat are awesome, actually. I never like to intrude, so an invite takes that weird intrusion feeling away. Yeah, I do have to inform people. I mean, I've seen where there's 0 people, and I'll do an everyone in our chat. And I try to not do a bunch in a day, because it's a bunch of pings, and I know, just like anybody, we turn off pings. But it is funny that more people jump in the moment you ping, and they're like, oh, okay, somebody's streaming. I'll go check that out.
Yeah.
Next up, Bethesda, big Starfield event. Update early 2024 with one particular thing we both noticed: new ways of traveling.
Yeah, that's a big thing, right? Like and I instantly, when they said new ways of travel, I just thought about not warp speed, because we technically you already go into warp, but the ability to move between planets in a solar system
right
through like a faster means of travel, and have it a little bit more seamless. I think they should really like hammer on the seamless thing, because a lot of people dislike the cuts to gameplay.
Yeah, I think that most likely there is some way for them to be able to go in there and hit a couple memory pointers or something that they're trying to delete on the load between space and the planet, and probably figure out a way where you can land direct to the planet. Now, would you fly
as well?
Would you fly around? No, but what I think would happen is that load would go away, and it would show you. It would just like, it would be not a load. It would be like a cutscene, wouldn't let you fly around the planet. I don't think that's their plan because there's not even guys in that area. But I think the ability for you to at least land. Also, we've seen this with mods. You saw the mod where there's already a mod to call your ship to you no matter where you are on the planet. So you're at a point of interest and you don't want to run back to ship. You can now, with a mod, call it to you. Why they could sell that for super expensive amount, you know?
Yeah.
Just be like the Uber mod, and you buy it, and it costs a lot of money. You put it in your ship, and it allows for them. I mean, have enemies have the ability to jam it. You know, you could do all kinds of crazy gameplay stuff. But I think travel, the big one, is seamless, like you said. Go ahead.
You can use console commands to get out of your ship in space and float in space. And I was thinking of like, it would be a cool way to implement that to like fix your ship or something. You know what I mean? If you don't have repair kits or you don't want to use repair kits.
Yeah, what if you don't have repair kits, but if you do it manually, right? Yeah, and you get like, you know, some chance of interdiction as well, but you go out there. Alex says, do you stream games sometimes on YouTube or Twitch? Me? No, I don't. I haven't streamed a game in a long. Well, I streamed yesterday in our Discord. Most of my stuff is in the Discord now. Streaming the podcast, Abzi and I were talking about, like, you can dual stream now without a bunch of shit from Twitch. We might have it stream both places, but I'll have to look into it. I think you have to use a service, otherwise you use an OBS to stream twice, which is just one more possible failure point.
Yeah, I think there's like a special software
for it.
Their
Restream is the good one, but you pay them.
Yeah.
But you basically stream up to them, and then they mux it out.
Gotcha. Okay, I see.
Very good. I mean, a very good idea, but you still have more lag too, because they're going to remix the entire stream. You know, put it out there. All right, PS4 Pro hardware leaks. So first of all, PS5 Pro. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have no clue if these are real. I don't track PS5 Pro or Xbox Pro stuff until it's from somebody I absolutely trust, what have you. I did see some of these, and from what people who are parsing the technology are saying, is that it is pretty small update, a pretty small improvement. And I think that makes sense. I think we'll get some games that are 60. You know, they'll try to do the 60, because we saw some games that with uncapped frame rates were pretty close to 60. You would see that. But I think if people are expecting, at least from what I saw, and again, I didn't dive into it fully, but the stuff 60. I looked at, no. That's what I was going to say, is I just have this feeling people are going to get under the impression that it's going to instantly unlock a bunch of pro modes that are going to look amazing.
Plus GTA never... They're just like going to homogenize everything. They're not going to have like different...
Yeah, for a while, right? They'll do their patch maybe a year later or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you guys think in chat? If anybody's seen the PS5 Pro hardware leaks, are you excited? You want to get a PS5 Pro? To me, a Pro needs to be Pro. It needs to have a pretty big, pretty sizable...
Yeah, plus I literally just bought this one like last year, dude. Like they weren't available, widely available for a long, long time. I don't want to buy another version already. I only use it for exclusives. Like it's, you know, it's a sink, and it's probably going to be $600 or something, right?
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at it, to me, a Pro, I really do want it to have some kind of, you know, big Pro thing. Like somebody just said, they need to implement frame gen, or implement FSR3 and frame gen, then let it die, move on after a new architecture. Yeah, so you could do a Pro with frame gen and stuff like that. That was more specific. I did see that there was possibly a chip in there for upscaling, which I do think is smart, especially if the firmware is rewritable, so you could make improvements to it. I've tested out the chips that work for the Switch, that upscale the Switch, and there's a couple in there that are really good. They're expensive. They're about $80 for the cables.
Yeah.
But they have these chips that upscale, do a little sharpening, do a little anti-aliasing. But it helps more on the Switch because the Switch is such low res.
Yeah.
What we're looking at is 1440p's and stuff, and trying to upscale that and make it worth your time is...
Maybe native instead of checkerboarded?
It could be, but God, dude, I don't know about you. To me, that's not the problem. The upscale versus or native versus some of their upscalings are fantastic.
Yeah.
To me, it is more about frame
pixel
gen.
PP.
Yeah, it's pixel PP. It's more about particles, FPS.
Yeah, I saw a weird headline for an article though. Like I didn't really understand it, and it said PS5 Pro will be the most powerful console ever made, and it's like, isn't that true for any new
Yeah, it's true.
Obviously, when the PS6 comes out, it's going to be the Xbox. Like, obviously, the newest console is always going to be the most powerful console ever made because it's new. So I don't really understand that sentiment. But
yeah,
I guess it's just like
that's clickbait. That's
clickbait.
I mean, it will be the most powerful. The only one that I think we all know is that Switch 2 will not be the most powerful, right?
Probably not. Yeah.
So
probably,
I mean, it'll be the most powerful handheld made by Nintendo.
Yeah. It has the potential to be the most powerful handheld. It has the potential with the NVIDIA. Well, not powerful. No, sorry.
Yeah.
With its NVIDIA chip. Powerful isn't the right word. Sorry. Smart. Maybe technologically smart or efficient or something.
Mm-hmm.
What if they figure out through DLSS and all that stuff, and maybe they figure out battery life. Nintendo always innovates in certain ways. What if they innovate in battery life and just being like, boom, we got 8 hours under load.
Who in here has a Pro in our chat, by the way? Who has a PS4 Pro? And when you bought the PS4 Pro, can you tell me why? What was the selling point for the Pro? Ignore fanboyism, because if you like PlayStation and you're just buying their new stuff, totally nothing wrong with that, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is why, what got you to get the Pro? What was the selling point? Because what I could see them doing is a much larger hard drive. It's fantastically larger hard drive. I'm talking on my ass right now. I'm just saying this is what I would like to see on a Pro. Fantastically better hard drive. And then somehow, without causing heat issues, which we know exist in both of these consoles right now, as in they're really at their level, they're right there, would be a 60 FPS. Not guarantee that'll never happen, because a developer can bring any system to its knees, including a 4090. I saw that with a House Flipper. So, right?
Yeah.
But I would love to see them look at ray tracing acceleration, which is supposedly in this, so you would get better ray tracing. But that, not all games have ray tracing. In fact, most games do not technically have ray tracing. So it's like,
like ray trace global illumination, or
like, how are you going to support that? I still have a launch Xbox One and PS4 and never moved on until this gen. Okay, I thought you were saying this entire time, Mocha. I was like, damn.
Maybe performance modes run at 4K.
What'd you say?
In some games, like some older games, like let's say Forbidden West is already out. Maybe the fidelity mode will run at 60 on the Pro instead of 30.
Yeah, they could definitely do that with older games, but then you're selling new technology for older games. And my personal belief is that mostly Sony and Xbox are trying to get new technology for the newest games.
Yeah,
it feels like. Feels like as a whole, that's sort of what they go for. I could be wrong.
For sure.
Nintendo does.
No, you're right, because they don't typically make most of their money from consoles, right? They make most of their money from the games and the ecosystem stuff.
Depending on their fab wafer, process, and if they've got efficiencies there, they can make money. But it's never equivalent to even one game that sells well. When you look at like a game that sells well, and you start to see the amount of money from that versus the amount of money from a console that maybe only gets you $20 per console. I mean, you're still selling a lot of consoles. They're selling, they're selling some
millions.
Yeah. Eternal says, my original PS4 started to chug with new games, and it sounded like a jet engine starting up. Yeah, see, that's the other thing. What efficiencies could we see there? Smaller,
Yeah.
My PS4 Pro heated up my room to the ends of the earth. And I had I have more technical issues with my PS4 Pro than I've ever had with any console when it came to heat generation. I had a lot of crashes on some of the games on quality mode. I think Sony sells way more of their consoles and tech to Japan, and they want to take priority over the rest of the world. It's probably true, but Japan, #1 seller, is still Switch, I believe, which isn't technologically proficient, and they still do well.
Yeah. Plus JRPGs and games that come out in Japan, like Yakuza's and stuff, aren't like that's China. China is the ones that usually push the technologies a lot and love their they love their particle effects and all that. But Japan doesn't at all. Like JRPGs, Yakuza's, you're not gonna get like the most graphically intensive games. Even Elden Ring, it's not that graphically intensive.
Yeah. That, what, I never thought about it, but if you do see a game and they say originally created in China or for a Chinese team, a lot of times they're graphically amazing and maybe gameplay not so proficient. And then you look at the Japanese ones, and it's like gameplay is usually unbelievable.
Top tier,
it's top tier, but graphically, that's an interesting. I never thought about that. That is absolutely true. Like that seems like a very,
other than Final Fantasy, obviously, other than Final Fantasy.
Yeah, well, even though people would argue that Final Fantasy 16 didn't have gameplay at all and just looked good.
Yeah.
And that was from Japan. So 60.
Yeah. That was Final Fantasy, because they were always the one. Like, remember Final Fantasy 10, how it came out and it just blew everyone's minds. Like, it was just way far past anything else. Yeah, they're one of the few.
Terrence says, I bought an Xbox One just last year because it was cheap and wanted to see some games that ran at 4K. Yeah, it's great to see this kind of stuff, upscaling or not. I think that it's awesome to see the new tech from the driver's side, not just the hardware side. Also, we're starting to see games take true advantage of the NVMe, man. Like Spider-Man would have not even been remotely possible. Like, ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm loving to see that, because we've had NVMe and PC for a while, but no use for them other than fast loading screens.
Yep. And they sort of
they
sort of skipped the SSD, because SSD is great and it is faster than hard drive, but not to the unbelievable jump that an NVMe is. And
up like 7,000 plus per second.
Ridiculous. Yeah. And a good SSD, you're still talking 300 to 500. So it's like, yes, it's 3 times faster than a hard drive, but things still have to sort of be set up the same way. You get NVMe and it's like all bets are off, and you can do. I mean, we're starting to see it. I think. I personally believe we're starting to see it more and more. Eternal says that's the other thing. You never want to be an early adopter unless it's your business to cover new tech. Newer iterations always drastically improved after the launch beta test consoles. Yeah, I mean, I think most
Xbox 360.
yeah. Xbox 360 was rough, man.
Oh man,
dude, let's bake our console. I'll still never to this day will I understand.
Was the Red Ring of Death like 100% chance for everyone to get it eventually?
No, because I didn't on 2 of my systems that I still play.
With the silver disc.
Yeah, the old system, the silver disc.
Oh shit, man.
But I did get it on a third one that I got because I had one in each room. At the one time, 360 was cheap. It was like $199 or something, and the thing was a beast. The 360 is like the gamer's gaming. I don't know any other way to describe it. That's just the way it felt. There was everything.
I had like 3 of them.
Yeah, and so my friends would come over and we would do LAN. We would do networked games, but we were still here, so we would all play online, even though we were at my house, and I had one in each room, and we would play. And that thing was just such a sweet price point. And that third one did have red ring. Then we got a black one, the new one, the Elite. It was, whatever it was, the one that had fixed the red ring, and we didn't get ones on that.
And Arcade fixed it too. Arcade didn't have Xbox Arcade didn't have. It came with no hard drive though.
Yeah, dude. That's Microsoft and Sony, all these guys trying to find a small niche and try to sell it again. It's like whenever you get a Gears of War Xbox and people are trying to sell it, and influencers are there being like, man, you need this Gears of War. It's like, go buy a piece of plastic gear, go buy a gear off Etsy and glue it to the front of your fucking Xbox.
Did you see someone made a PS5 Slim better than the PS5 Slim? It was way better, way more efficient, I think better cooling than the normal.
Yeah, but do you know who that guy is? Because I follow him. So that guy
he's crazy, huh?
He's crazy. The stuff he builds is beyond belief. Like, he'll build a projector that normally would cost $4,000 and he builds it for like 150, and he's like, I'm gonna use a phone and a magnifying lens I bought from a fucking satellite. And so sourcing his parts might be hard, but he's also the guy who built like he did a glass desk for his PC. But it takes him 3 to 5 months because he's the initial guy. No one's telling him how to do it. But his ideas, handcrafted speakers that are unbelievable. Like, he'll be like, this has taken me 6 months. Here's this speaker set. And God, I wish I knew his name, because he's the British or like English. He's very, very clean cut looking guy, and his place is immaculate. Like, I don't know who he has. He has a house flipper in there. Somebody's making sure there's not a bit of dust. He's got that primo, recording. And the stuff that he builds is... Anybody know who we're talking about, by the way? He's one of the premier new tech builders and experimental builders on YouTube. Man, I have him. I'm subscribed to him. I don't remember his exact name. But that guy, his ability to create makes me...
That's sick, man. Being able to tinker with stuff and change designs and do all that stuff.
Dude, like
it was like a dream of mine as a kid. I used to like open up calculators and try.
Oh yeah, never put it back together. That's an airsoft for me. I have like 33 airsoft guns, and Josh and I used to joke, if you open an airsoft engine, is what they're called, they're under such pressure that springs will fly out, and there's been eye injuries. But I will always be able to take it apart and never, ever successfully never. I've shipped half-built engines to like E-Vike Airsoft and stuff and said, listen, I need $40 of tech time. Could you please put this piece of shit back together? Because it's under such pressure, and everything's built on machines. And so, Austin Evans, is it Austin Evans? Let me look, because if you guys don't know what we're talking about, Austin Evans deserves every kudo he gets. Nope, I don't think it's Austin Evans.
Rain
Man? Nope, it's not Austin Evans. But if you guys know who I'm talking about, this guy builds, it's a super high do-it-yourself perks. And look, do-it-yourself perks on YouTube. This is a guy who's got millions of subscribers, and he builds. Oh, I think we found it. We did. Do-it-yourself perks. So if anybody gets a chance, check this guy out. So currently he's got building exceptional speakers using modern tech, building an actual water-cooled PC that sucks lake water into the PC, building the world's first PlayStation Pro, building a do-it-yourself submarine, building the world's first breathing PC, and it cools by having a membrane move in the PC slowly. Fuck, dude, you should see it. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. His ability it's beyond anything I've ever seen for a person. And he's an engineer, I believe, obviously. Well, and obviously, here's me getting a D in fucking whole mech because I couldn't build a box
PC with a pond.
Yeah.
Actually water cooled. Building a realistic artificial sun.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Oh, yeah, the artificial sun. Oh, you gotta check this out, man. Like,
look
this
at
guy,
the PS5 Slim, though.
He made
Jesus
a fake
Christ.
window. That's the one I was gonna bring up, Doc, because I want to make sure it was him. He built a fake window with sunlight using the proper lights, that vitamin D lights, and so you should check it out, man.
Dude, that PS5 Slim is literally a MacBook Air, dude. This thing is so thin. Oh man.
That's when you know engineering's a thing. When if you're an engineer, somebody else is, and you both build something, you can look at it and think to yourself, everybody has the same idea because air works in a particular way. And so you can't. A pyramid isn't as useful. That's why the Xbox Series X is actually really cool. Just one fan on one end blowing air out. And it's like, it makes sense. But it's not necessarily beautiful to look at. Yeah, do it yourself. Guys, you need to check it out, man. Like, that guy deserves every subscription you guys can give him, because and his stuff is quality. He walks you through everything.
It's got finesse.
Yeah.
He walks you through as well, so you can just build your PS5 Slim at home.
It just makes me sad, man. Yeah, because I try to build stuff. I'll check out a YouTube video, and I'll be like, oh, dude, it's just 2 right angles and a fucking block of wood. And I'll build it and look at it and be like,
it's like implementation. It's like, whoa, how did that?
Fucking, or you'll see somebody be like, this is easy. All you got to do is, and you're trying to hang, I'll try to hang a frame on my wall, and I'll be like, why is my frame not even centered? Like, it's a frame. It should take 2 seconds. It should be a nail and some string. It never works, right?
Yeah. I want that PS5 Slim, not the other one they showed. Damn.
No shit.
That was just like so out of the way, and
getting some of these quickly out of the way. Game Over Gaffney says, I joined the Patreon a week ago, and I must say the Discord chats have been brilliant. Best choice I've ever made. I'm dealing with chronic illness that feel like they're killing me from the inside, and a lot of daily pain comes with those illnesses. The podcast now, the Discord chats really do help distract my mind, give me plenty of laughs, which is hard to come by. Thank you, Karak, Abzi, Johnny, Reg, Silver, Cadiz, and Total Biscuit. I think that's how he found me. What you do helps so many people. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Paulie 6670 says, I have 2 questions. 1, what's your favorite Captain Holt memory? Vindicated. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Vindicated is a good one.
Vindicated.
Mine is
go
yeah.
No, go.
Mine is when he was receiving an award from Wunsch, and he tries to be nonchalant and just accept it.
Worth it.
But then he goes like, Wunsch time is over. Boo, ha, it's so
his
funny,
celebration. And by the way, Vindicated was ad-libbed. No one expected it. So you see the other people go, because he screams it. But when he's right and he's like, Vindicated, I was laughing so hard. Vindication, thank you. I was laughing so hard, just going like, what in the, because he's in everything you see, Glory and Mist, he's this, and even in the Hot Damn, that's another one. Hot damn. But
Hot damn,
that guy got me through some tough times, or like, times where you're sort of down, you're watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he shows up, and they're all amazing. That's another thing. It's one of the few shows.
Yeah.
Scully and what's his name are amazing. Like, it doesn't matter. They're all legitimately their own thing. And it's magical, man, when you find a show like that. And the fact that he passed away, that Lance Riddick passed away.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I
love Lance Riddick. Man.
Yeah, it sucked, man. It sucked. I do love that when he's like, wait. He's like, it's like brunch, but not lunch. And they're like, it took you 3 hours to figure that out. He's all, or that one time when he's like, I can write the poem. I'm well versed in emotions or whatever. And he says something like, marriage is like a business partnership. And he's like, okay, continue. He's like, that's all I've got. It's been 3 hours. That's what I've got. It's just like,
I love how obsessed he is with balloon arches. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, the balloon arch. And when he's mad and popping them.
And he's just popping them. Like,
dude, he's staring at her. He's like, and you can hear it. By the way, when they cut to another scene, the other characters are talking, and in the background, you hear, bap, just continuing. I'm like, what a great skit that he's just still pissy about nobody liking that balloon arch. Oh, dude, man. Yeah, dude. I love it.
Yeah, man.
Second, so far I've heard no real reason to buy a PS5 yet, other than Spider-Man 2. It seems like too steep a price for one game. I have the opportunity to remote play on my friend's PS5, but he lives in the UK and I live in Ireland. If you had an experience with that so far with remote play, does distance make a difference? We both have pretty strong internet connections. Thanks for the awesome podcast. So I would say if you have strong internet connection, there's a lot of games you can play on remote play from any of these devices. You should check that out for sure. As long as there's only, one internet hop or two internet hops, you don't want to do Call of Duty on it, but you should try it. Mm-hmm. Remote play is genuinely a thing. And I personally feel it's well worth jumping into and trying out. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't at least give it a chance. I think it's just something you should go for. Rick Flair says, how do you feel about the different approaches to battle passes in gaming, such as perpetual availability in Halo, swapping back whenever you like? Oh, right. I get what you're saying. Versus time-limited nature in other games and the fear of missing out. So that is true. Battle passes are handled differently for, some you get in, the stuff goes away. Some you buy and it's there forever. Battle passes confuse me a little bit. I don't think I like them.
Yeah, I think they're like the evolution of what used to be loot boxes. I think loot boxes were like probably the worst idea out of all of them. Battle Pass is a bit better, I think. It's I guess you can outright buy outfits and stuff or whatever, or you can pay a little, pay way less, and have the ability to have a progression system there to earn those cosmetics, which I don't have a huge problem with it. It's just what they sacrifice. My problem with when it comes to cosmetics in general or battle passes is what they sacrifice in game, what you would get normally through playing just for you to buy into the battle pass. Like Sakura and Halo in the beginning, I don't know how it is now, but Halo used to always have all these cool unlocks. You can unlock like this shoulder piece by like headshotting like 5 people, or do all these things and like take it away just so they can introduce a battle pass. Was like a huge blow, right?
Yeah. I'll answer mine. I do want to clarify this. I thought he was clear, but Eternal doesn't think so. Wait, what? PS5 has far more to play than a late exclusive. Hell, the Portal tech originated in Ratchet and Clank utilizing PS5's SSD. But he doesn't care about that. He's asking for himself. So for him, Spider-Man 2 is the first game on that system worth getting. It's not saying that there isn't some special tech or isn't some special thing that's awesome, but a lot of people do look at a system, they have a PC, and to buy a console means they need more than one game, or they need something that fits them. For example, Days Gone, I know a lot of people really are zombie fans, and then I know some people, Days Gone would not have ticked the mark even one step closer to a buy on a console. They needed a God of War. And if that person doesn't like God of War, then that's another one. I think a lot of people confuse that a game being popular means it ticks the mark towards buying or not. It doesn't. It doesn't. Every person is going to be different.
Resonates with someone. Yeah. Like, for example, my friend, what did him and I guess was GTA 6, because he doesn't have a console, and GTA 6 is only selling on consoles.
I think that makes sense. Wait until see what's out, right? When it comes out, is there a Pro for these, or is there, a PS6, or is there an Xbox Series XXL
720 or some shit?
720. So my answer for battle passes is there are some games that I think handle micros or battle passes really well, and that, for example, well, it's not a battle pass, but you were talking about what do they take from the game. Assassin's Creeds have been generally awesome to me in that I'm happy with the armor and weapons in the game. And then I get a cool fatty warthog that looks incredible in Valhalla, where I'm like, dude, I want that. And that thing looks awesome. I don't want to ride that around. That's not a battle pass. That's just the micros, and I feel like their games do a pretty good job having what I want in the game. In fact, I think they're one of the best. They don't do a battle pass. The only one I know that I've done battle passes for were Call of Duties, and I never felt that they were worth it.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me stuff that I guess I just didn't care about. And then some of them add in bonuses, like you can do better, and I hate that, obviously. Battle Pass is a weird term, too, because what is it? Just, is the term Battle Pass replaced something else? Season Pass or season or...
Season Pass is usually what, like, pay now and you'll get access to all the expansions that we release.
And Battle Pass is more like right
seasonal.
Now.
I think it's one of the main drives for games doing seasons now, because each new season they can reintroduce a Battle Pass, right? And I guess it just gives you another progression system for cosmetics.
Oregon says Diablo 4 didn't have a terrible battle pass. So is that
really?
Is that what you think? Because you do Diablo 4, or used to. You did some.
A little bit. I did some. I didn't even check out what they offer. I guess mounts and shit.
Yeah.
They also sometimes try like a mini game in there. Like you could buy a battle pass and it's like, oh, you have this thing where you can like manage like your, I don't know. I think COD did it in a way where it was like, see like a region map and stuff, and you go to different regions.
I'm a little behind on the Battle Pass stuff, simply because when you look at Battle Pass, it has to be a game I'm already interested in. So I'd probably do Battle Pass day one, and then if it's later, if there's a Battle Pass later, my chances of returning are just too difficult. It's very, where some people jump in. Eternal says, where there's a lot more games I could list, but my point is, don't get caught up in the latest release. That's not what he's doing. Again, Spider-Man 2 is the game that appeals to him. It's not the latest release. It's that Spider-Man 2 appeals to him. That's what happens. It's not. We were even talking about God of War Ragnarok. The game is worth it on its own, but he doesn't like. He obviously didn't get the PlayStation 5 for God of War. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Like, people. I got it for FF, I think. I think that was the one.
Exactly. I know some people who get the new Xboxes when a Forza comes out. It doesn't matter what other things are offered. This person sees Spider-Man 2 and says, this is the game that has got me somewhat interested in this ecosystem. That's not you guys, and that's not me. That's this person, and I think that that's fair. By the way, this reminds me of the Nintendo conversation. I'm not a Nintendo fan, but their 4 games this year were insane. I didn't become a Nintendo fan after playing all those 4. I also didn't become a Mario fan, even though 2 of those were Mario games. Those are good games, and those tick a mark. If somebody, let's say, wants to play a Switch game, you may get 4 and go, okay, this is where I want to go. Alex says, which browser do you guys recommend? I use Edge and Firefox. Is that what you're using? I mess around with Blade sometimes, or Brave.
I was using Firefox for a while. Now I switched back to Chrome, but I'm thinking of switching again. Is Opera good? I've been seeing a lot of Opera recently.
But Opera is more about creators. There's a lot of creators pushing Opera because it lets them create their own like homepage for you. It's much more let's get creators to push Opera than it is Opera being good. You're talking to an ex-Opera fan.
Oh, gotcha. I see what you mean. Yeah, I've seen a lot of marketing for it.
You'll see a lot of marketing on the influencer side for
and
for Opera.
They've been tweeting like controversial shit, or not controversial, just like friend of the consumer type shit.
Yeah. I got to switch for Breath of the Wild, Rogerio says, but then I loved a lot of games they released. Yeah. Brave, 2 people using Brave, Opera, Edge.
So Opera GX, you guys like it?
Opera GX.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I tried it last week, and for me, a browser has to offer something that's beyond what my others offer currently, and it doesn't as of yet. But as a big Opera fan, like I was huge into Opera for the longest period of time. One of the things I hated was that they dropped support. It was like, it was great for a while, and then everything, I don't even remember what was coming up, but something was coming up, security or what have you, and it was just, it was lagging behind. And then I'm like, all right, I'll switch. I've been blown away by Edge. I can't believe I'm saying that. But dude, Edge's speed for me has
Edge is
been
good.
phenomenal. The extensions have been good. On the Android, I use Kiwi. Kiwi is a fake Edge/Chrome, and you can use extensions where a lot of Android browsers have issues with some extensions. Some just don't allow them, and some do. It's helped a great deal. Cheese is crust. Lego and Fortnite's blowing up with a ton of concurrent players. How do you feel about devs making games in Fortnite instead of their own dedicated game? I think we covered that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a
Big
thing.
villain for Karak. When reviewing, how do you approach a game? I know you don't rate on a point system, but are you approaching games as a buy and then subtracting for issues, or the other way around? Do you try to consider developer intent?
I like that idea.
It's a good idea because most people either go from 0 to 10 and they count up for the cool things the game has. I do none of that. I play the game and then I look at the cost of the game and decide, do I feel like I got my $60 out of it? That's it. I don't have a subtraction. I don't have an addition. I have a holistic approach to stuff. And I think one of the biggest problems I have that I'm seeing a lot of times is where there's this game doesn't have exactly what this other game has, so therefore it's not as good. And my opinion is, I see where you're coming from, but if this game works, $60 is the common denominator, not this game over here and this game.
Yeah. You can't have everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have everything in everything, right?
Yeah, there's like different scopes and stuff, and I feel like people should critique what it is offering and critique what it's not offering, unless what it's not offering is not tied to what it is offering. For example, like if a game is trying to do something, let's say it's trying to make like a immersive sim, but it doesn't have the ability to tackle combat differently. That's like something that you can critique that's not in the game that should be. But I feel like people sometimes go like, oh, but it doesn't have this, which this other game does. But then you can look at the other game and be like, well, it doesn't have this that this game does. Like, for example, they you can say like, oh, No Man's Sky has this immersive, like seamless, you can go into planet out of planet, but No Man's Sky also doesn't have all these faction quests and story and combat and all that stuff. So you can always pick out something that a game doesn't have.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that when I came out of Starfield. So, for example, I'm playing around with like No Man's Sky and Elite, and those games. Whenever battle comes up, those games fall to the wayside. They're terrible. I mean, just horrendous. No Man's Sky's combat is just fucking, it's terrible.
Yeah, that's trash, yeah.
So then you have Starfield that did have that, and while it had its own issues, it felt better in combat. And so, to me, I do look at, like, age of something. Does this feel older? Sure. Like, for sure. But then, do other things work in that game? Does it work for what it's doing? Does it not? Baldur's Gate, same way. I had some issues with Baldur's Gate. A lot of people don't. I had issues with Warhammer Rogue Trader that you seem to not have, that I had. But if we're
not yet, at least
if we're comparing one game to 15 other games, that game can never win. It's impossible.
No.
That's the Squid Game. That's 100 versus 1. That's unrealistic. You can't. And I get people saying, why don't you stream? Why don't you do top 10s? Why don't you do blah blah blah? It's like, I'm just one person. You're comparing me to the 7 other people you're subscribed to. It's not only unfair, it actually doesn't make sense. That's not that's not exactly how you want to go about it. For reviewing, everybody can review the way they want, but for me, $60 is the common denominator, or the price, whatever it may be. Nor says, stemming from your house flipper review, what in life would you like to make a simulator of? So what's another game? So we've got farming, we've got house flipper, we've got bum simulator.
We've even got business shit, like
we got
corporate
business
world
simulator, we got corporate, financial, stock trader. We have beef simulators, one of the better of the simulator games.
PC builder simulator,
which is awesome.
We already have convenience store managers. We have waitressing. We have cooking.
I don't know how big this game is right now. I know one exists, but I don't think it's as big as I'm saying. But for me, I would personally say a doggy daycare / trim, cut, wash your dog would be very appealing to a lot of people. Yeah, like I take care of the, you deliver the dog, I take care of it, and then and
that's cool.
You need to clip his nails. He's sick. I think that would be fun and would do well. Cute. Yeah. Some kind of an influencer simulator already exists. You're right, Del.
We already have not for broadcast, which is a really really cool
and that's a simulator.
What do you call it? Editor simulator.
That's an editor simulator. It's showing you how to edit in Premiere, but live.
With a really fun story. Yeah. Very fun. Man, I'm trying to think of something. Is there what about like a content creator simulator or something?
Well, we do have one. You have YouTube U or whatever. Yeah, it's a pretty big game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where you trying to like decide how.
I love Game Dev Simulator. That one's really fun. Game Dev Sim
is what got me into this in the first place, dude. Yeah. And the Game Dev Tycoon or whatever from Kirasoft.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, dude, that one. Yeah.
I remember walking around on my cell phone, actively out loud stating, "Oh, I get it. Now I understand why this is popular." Because I was playing it, going, "This is awesome, man! Like this is great." That was it was so good. The guys who clean up John Wick Body Simulator. Yeah, there's one of those. There's also the other one that's like hazardous material cleanup.
Ooh, Contraband Police.
Contraband
came out recently.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
I need to play that. Papers, Please, I love.
Training Simulator, just training people on other stuff. Or do you mean Train Simulator? I think you mean training.
Or what about like a fitness trainer simulator?
Yeah.
Wait, how would you even do it? Write people programs and
personal
stuff?
Trainer simulator, write and program, helping people with weight loss and muscle gain. Yeah. That'd be great.
Maybe have it like accurate, like scientifically accurate.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, that'd be awesome. This person has dietary restrictions. You got to get a vegan to bulk up, and you're like, "Damn, how do we do this?"
Oh, that's impossible.
Time for some beans. Yeah, it's like the colossal problem that dieters always have if they're vegan. It's like, how do I put on solid mass? It's like, let's do, maybe maybe you can do some side deals for for a little EPO.
Yeah.
Little Decadianabol. Suddenly,
I had a fitness trainer pump me with all kinds of shit once.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I mean, like fitness trainers usually are not. They're usually supposed to be the more natural,
that guy was like,
yeah.
No, he was not natty at all. That guy like was literally a brick, dude. That guy, he fucking HGH. He gave me all sorts of shit.
Maybe for sports, how you train affects. Oh, dude, prepare somebody for the combine in the NFL. I don't know if you know what that is, but that's where people want to get in the NFL. They do these training courses, and their times are marked down. Their bench press, their triple jump, or whatever. That would be awesome. What? You know what I would like? Imagine a game. This is what I would like. A game where you do nothing more than outfit, and this is a little like King's Story or whatever on the Wii, but where you outfit a group who's going out for like military, like SWAT or engagements, like almost like XCOM, but no fighting. You're just upgrading guns. You know, they come back and they're like, dude, the shield that you built works, but now the enemy has electric-based weapons, and you're so you're the gun you're the guy in all the movies.
Like a blacksmith simulator.
Yeah, but for guns. You're the guy selling guns to John Wick in the hotel, you know, and you're the one going like, you want the 9mm Smith & Wesson.
Dude, I want more vendor simulator. Like I love push out of things. There's one where you can have a tavern in a medieval world. There's one where you can be like an NPC in someone's like a vendor for like warriors. Where there was one where you can be like a vendor and warriors would come to you and buy gear and stuff.
The King's Little Story or something on Switch or on Wii had one that was fantastic, and you were building the town, and then adventurers would go out to dungeons and then come back, and you were consistently upgrading the town. And I'm sure I've got the name wrong, because this has come up a couple times, but whatever it was fucking awesome, because it's like they come back, they got their butts kicked or whatever, and you're trying to give them new armor and new weapons. They leveled up, and then they bought new equipment from you. That kind of stuff. Yeah. Guild Simulator, Armory Simulator, Natural Photography Simulator. Yeah, where you had to like, almost like a screenshots where you send somebody out to different places and get good shots.
Butler Simulator. What if you played as Alfred in a Batman game?
Dude, that'd be just cleaning up after him. I mean, I feel like House Flipper's close, man.
Or like a cleaner, like cleaning after a killer, or like a cleaning after like a gang.
I think that's what the
like
guy said was John Wick's a cleaner simulator, where you go in afterwards and you have to hide the bodies and.
Yeah, dude, that would be cool. Yeah.
Hush Al Ghul, $2 super chat. Tax auditor simulator. I'm thinking that would be pretty boring, but it could be fun. Yeah. Animal shelter simulator. Yeah, that'd be awesome, as long as the animals were not coming to you hurt or abused. I couldn't handle that. But yeah, there's so many games that are simulators, or so many ideas that you could do with simulators. But I got to tell you guys, if you guys don't follow this entire genre, you're missing out on some of the best games. You can start with Thief Simulator, PC Builder Simulator. Some of these
Isn't Thief Simulator 2 coming out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And had VR. One of the best implementations of VR I've seen in a game was in Thief VR Simulator. Like, not what I expected.
Cleaners.
Rogerio
Cleaners
says,
exist.
have you had a favorite past E3 moment? Could be awfully funny presentation or legitimately great or wholesome moment.
I have a bunch. There was one where that YouTuber like the teleprompter or something wasn't working or was presenting something other than a script, and he was like, "Thanks, Nick, for having me."
Oh,
and that was a really, really funny moment.
I think for mine is Jay Allard for Xbox wearing a hoodie, pulled up over his head, trying to be cool, sitting down cross-legged, talking to the people in the front row, and you were just like, dude, don't. It was that don't moment. It's, it's like Steve Buscemi in the Saturday Night Live where he shows up walking in and he's 60 looking and he's like, how are you, young kids? And you're like, yeah, exactly. It's uncomfortable. Just don't do it.
Oh, dude, remember when Phil Spencer walked out at the end of the Microsoft show and it was like, thank you all, and then it glitched out into Cyberpunk? That show was very hype.
Dope. Yeah.
Microsoft's had God of War reveal.
A good number of them.
2016 as well. Yeah. Where nobody knew what it was, and then he like emerged from the shadow.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is amazing, man. In chat, what are some of the ones that you guys have just really good moments from E3? Hello, fellow kids. Yeah, that's the joke. I love that. Hello, fellow kids.
Yeah.
Next,
Ubisoft always had their like dance fucking.
Oh, remember Ubisoft sometimes would have the full dancers come down the stage between the people watching, and they're like breaking
like a little panda and stuff.
Oh yeah, and because we were talking, the guy was in the helmet or in the full suit, and he was working it, and we were like, dude, do you know how sick you would be because how hot it was, and that guy was just grooving. He probably died. Zombie says, have you checked out your Xbox and PlayStation yearly recap? What are your most played games, and did anything surprise you? So, I haven't yet, but I did show a flash of a goofy Spotify one I made randomly. I haven't checked mine yet. I'm sure there's a link, but I don't think I care much about my wrap-up. I don't know. Do you care? Like, do you look at your wrap-ups?
I mean, Steam already shows me most hours played and stuff.
Yeah.
I also like I'm PlayStation. I already know, like, obviously, what are the
God of War?
FF16 is probably have the most hours in, and then God of War was last year. Spider-Man 2, yeah. I think FF16 would win that because I have like a 90 hours on it.
Quinn Viticus says, you guys talk about how Avatar does a good job with gameplay, building on the narrative. Environment is important, only take what you need, crafting uses minimal resources, etc. Have you played any games where the gameplay does the opposite of that and detracts from the narrative? Good question. How badly did it mess with your enjoyment of the game? So has there been a game where whatever you're doing, the activities, let's not talk about story, because we've talked about the Swiss watch problem, which is like, a timed event that the person never dies because you're supposed to give them the poison antidote at any point, and they don't care. But has there ever been like a gameplay mechanism in a game that you didn't feel should even have existed? Like it doesn't pan out? Like collectibles in a game that you feel like, why are there even collectibles? Like this doesn't work for me.
Yeah, the Star Wars games had a bonfire mechanic.
Man, that's the best answer right there, man. You're talking about Survivor and
Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah. Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Yeah, those are good examples. Why did they have the bonfire mechanic? Man.
Yeah.
And the stormtroopers showing back up when you go to sleep, and you're just like, seriously, this is just not the way it should be.
Yeah, there's like the game, like the reason Souls games and stuff have those. The whole game, the whole level design is built around it. Like that's a whole point of the game. That one just felt like, it shined in a bad way the most when like I had to do this Uncharted climbing section every time, and it's like it adds nothing. Yeah, if you just like give me a checkpoint.
Indio brings up one I've complained about forever. and that's malaria in Far Cry 2. And
God! That's a good one. That's a good one, man.
It is good, and I would go so far as almost say the weapon degradation. I think it works, but degradation needs to really pay. There needs to be a reason. It needs to pay off. Everything needs to be sort of solid. And I think Far Cry 2 had 2 systems that I bounced off of, and then Zelda Breath of the Wild's weapons falling apart was. I don't think I've been that mad in a long time, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess it was easier in the second one because you could craft.
Yeah, and put items on items. You put a rock on a sword, and you're like, okay, it doesn't make sense, but it works. But Far Cry, malaria, dude. I remember swimming.
Oh God!
And I got it in the water, and you're like giving yourself a shot. You're consistently giving yourself shots, and I was like, dude, I hated that entire system. That's such a good example.
Damn, I have others, man.
Go for it.
There's for sure others. No, I'm just trying to think of any.
I mean, I think overall, when you look at a lot of these systems, the developers know that some don't work and they remove them. For example, Red Dead had weapon degradation, but it didn't ever stop the weapon. It just made it do less damage, right? When you cleaned, you could clean and polish your weapon. Yeah. Because it didn't stop those guns from working, right? I don't remember any gun not working. So
No, it didn't. Yeah, but yeah, Final Fantasy 16's gear, like whole gear system,
because it just doesn't feel like it pays off, really.
You don't need, like, it's just a linear, like, oh, now I can buy this better one, now I can buy this better one. You might as well not have that in there. If you're just gonna do that. May have it only be cosmetic or something.
Yeah. Far Cry 2 is my favorite game, but malaria was kind of dumb. Yeah, I think. I mean, let's be honest. If you're arguing and you say malaria is cool, I would like you to explain how that did, especially the way it was working in that game without a mod.
God, that game had the most annoying. Like, you're driving and every 2 seconds someone would crash into your fucking vehicle
and you'd have to repair the Jeep.
Oh, and you have to repair the Jeep, and then you get malaria.
Ooh, Guy says one. Guy's got a good example: defending settlements in Fallout 4.
Oh God, I didn't even interact with that stuff.
I barely interacted with it because I don't think I didn't mind it, but it obviously didn't speak to me. I think that's a good example.
Yeah, with like the warnings front and center. Yeah.
Indio also says, I hated Final Fantasy VIII's draw system. I don't like having limited numbers of spells you have to go find in the world. Now that one's too far ago for me to remember.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
I know that I think we can all agree that Final Fantasy always has one, right? They always have something unique in every one of their games. Yeah. There's some spell mechanic or what have you.
Oh, dude, there's something I hate that a lot of JRPGs do, and I don't understand why they don't do it. Or why they do it is they'd give you a lot of these cool abilities for characters that just don't work on bosses. They only work on like trash enemies that you can like just attack them and kill them anyway. Like status effects wouldn't work on bosses. There's debuffs or like the fucking stuns and shit. Like it's the worst.
Yeah. That's a good question. Quinviticus Chile says, is there a potential for a decent movie tie-in? Revival, Hogwarts, Avatar this year, Jurassic Park coming up. What would you love to see going forward? Aquaman. I'd personally love to see Inception. Abzy compared this to Alan Wake in Discord, and I can see that being really interesting.
Sorry, in what sense? Like I want to see a revival of like a old franchise, like Blade.
I think he's just talking about decent movie tie-ins, which we've answered before. But I mean, Avatar was a decent one. Hogwarts was beyond decent. I mean, it's the #1 seller. Like, it's obviously it worked out.
Yeah.
Man, like, these are always weird questions because I usually just find an IP that I used to love in a TV show or movie and say that. But I still think I've explained it to my Discord because we've had 3 voice chats now and then 1 8-hour discussion about Aquaman. I was trying to sell it to everybody. But I believe that because Aquaman the movies treat water like air, if you notice, they make the water very clean, and so it almost sometimes just looks like them with wavy hair. I just think an Aquaman that played a little bit like Devil May Cry would work underwater, and you could have the different species, the different leaders, and I think water now, with all these effects we're seeing in games, could be handled really well. I would love to see an Aquaman open world where you're, trying to get the other nations to work with you, fighting the different bad guys. They've got a couple cool bad guys. I think the best is Big Head Fred, or whatever his name is, the black-headed... the guy who shoots the beams from the movie.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. But you've got him. You've got a couple bad guys. Maybe that would be your weakness. But I think Aquaman would be awesome.
How would Flash work? Would Flash work as a game?
Dude, so DC Universe handles Flash pretty well, but everybody sort of goes the same speed. So it's like if somebody's flying and Flash is running, it's a little bit dumbed down because Flash can go, faster than the speed of light, that kind of stuff, depending on what comics you read.
I imagine every time you run, you go into the future.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's aged every time. You're like, God damn, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Black Manus, thank you. Yeah, so I think Flash is probably pretty difficult. Flash is like Superman. You have to dumb him down.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Yeah, you would have to have a seller on the street giving every single person kryptonite. Because if they didn't...
Yeah.
Superman would just be
what was a game where you played like a really strong superhero? Was it Hulk or some other shit where
there's Hulk's game.
All enemies now have this thing to counter you now?
It happens every time.
Make it challenging, right?
Yeah, it happens every time. It's like the only way to do it is to basically make that character weak against the normal guys, and it just ruins the entire feeling of the power fantasy of it. It's just hard to do an interactive situation in games and have it work out. Great Ape, Karak was in the early 2020 before COVID. You were planning on going to the Grand Canyon on vacation. Oh yeah, partly because of playing Red Dead 2. Am I just misremembering? Did you ever go? Do you plan on going? I did get sick. I did not get COVID. I don't know what I got, but I was pretty damn sick, and we had to cancel the Grand Canyon visit. And I would love to go. It's the only place in the world I want to see.
Oh, okay.
I don't care about anything else. I don't care about other nations. I can watch YouTube. I can use VR, Google. I don't need to. I want to see the Grand Canyon, and I don't know why. I just think it looks awesome. Red Dead stoked my love for the Sedona rocks and the way everything's done. Bend,
like
Oregon.
The crumbling.
Yeah, Bend, Oregon is set up the same way because it's the same type of desert. Yeah. So when I went to Bend 2 weeks ago, I was like, damn, I still dig this. So yeah, Grand Canyon would be awesome. Is there a place you want to go? Just one place. Let's ignore Japan, because every weeb in the world is like, I want to go to Japan.
I want to go to Japan. I want to see samurai culture and Togo.
Location, ignoring the people who own it or anything, is there a natural formation or thing that you would like to see in the world that you hear about?
I want to see Northern Lights.
That'd be very cool. Yeah, that would be awesome. Do you know they make a sound too? You can hear them.
Do they actually?
Yeah, they do.
Is it like an ambient?
It's like an
sound?
ambient static hum that you can actually hear, and they've got people who've got recordings of it. Yeah, sometimes depending on the amount of energy in them. That'd be very cool. That's a good. As long as you don't say fucking Stonehenge, I'll be fine.
Why did that pop into my? That did pop into my mind, Stonehenge, but then it's like I don't. Why would I care to see that?
Stonehenge is such a tourist trap. It's like it's like the pyramids. Whenever you talk to anybody who went to the pyramids, they're like, dude, it's you just have to do it on your own, because if you go and get involved in the scam of the tourism, it just falls apart. I'd love to see that. But do you know what else I'd like to see? I'd like to stand far enough away to see the whole thing of Everest.
Everest, yeah.
A mountain
I was going to say
I
Everest
live near
as well.
mountains, and when somebody drew the biggest mountain here in Oregon, and then showed Everest behind it as a graphic, I was like, that would scare me. Actually, it would make me get tight inside, where I was like, that's so.
Well, now with Light No Fire coming out, the first true open world,
the first true open world fantasy
go up
game.
miles of mountains.
And Sean Murray's never lied. I'm just joking.
Dude, I love how I feel like he has like this like subconscious need to like talk like that. It's like go up the mountain and look at the rivers.
You
and
know
the
why,
lakes
dude?
under.
Because he is your friend who, when you play D&D with them, they're the guy who explains what his character's doing for 45 minutes. He's the guy, he's the DM who's like, tapestries are festooned from the iron wrought gates. And by the way, I love that. But I'm saying that's him as a game maker. That's why, because he's like one of those child.
He's like Peter Molyneux.
Yeah, except he delivered. Peter did too. I mean, nobody can like say Fable didn't deliver a bunch of stuff, just didn't deliver everything, just like No Man's Sky. But dude, man. I mean, I love when a kid, he sounds like a child, like a 7-year-old, when they draw something and all you see is a pointy hat. You're like, what is that? That's a witch. And this witch owns this land. And this witch, and you're like, That's just a dude with a pointy hat, and a broom, But that's what we need in gaming. Like, the tech stuff is great, ray tracing, but like you said, it's not all about resolution. Sometimes it's the effect and the feel and the atmosphere.
Yeah, the effect.
And when you see
and
something,
I love how he
could
I love how he could laugh at himself too. I feel like he's reached a point where he's very comfortable enough. He knows his game is good now, and
oh, dude, he's bearing the psychological scars. His brain has entire patchwork areas of repaired shit after dealing with all that. And I bet you, if you come at him, the defenses are there now. I'm sure it would still hurt, but I bet you he's got those. Somebody coming through the fire that he created. I'm not saying he didn't create it.
But now you can't light the fire. No, but I maybe because of that, now he learned his lesson. And now they're way more experienced. They're way more experienced, and they can pull it off. Maybe.
And they're building off a dream that he had and misinterpreted what they could do at first that they've done now, and that's why I don't have a ton of worry about that game. I'm not saying it won't be bad. I'm saying the technological stuff they showed easily possible, not easily as in.
Now every time I watch that trailer, I notice the one tower that's off to the side. Yeah, the one
tower I pointed out, or I'm like, dude, it's definitely procedural. That tower is out of place. That's me being me. But no, dude, I love it. I love when he goes out there and he's like, okay, and then Jeff is like, no, let's make sure we don't go too far, and he's like, yeah, we're not going to go. And then you have the tallest mountain, and you're like, dude, it took him 3 seconds to go from 0 to 60. He's like. Yeah, so you have this mountain that's in front of you, and I was like, oh, I love it because he's so dude. He's like what you want. He's the person you want making video games. He's
we need types like those.
They're the best types, man. Like,
just ambitious.
Maybe we shouldn't ask them a bunch of questions about how they're technically going to do it and what we're going to get, but the idea is like this is what we want to deliver because everybody gets so hammered down. We see it even creators. You think you're going to do a cool video, like you said, and then you try and you get stymied. He's the guy who did something, got stymied, and then moved through it.
Doing it.
And kept doing it. And look, I mean, we have a game that lost to Cyberpunk as the best ongoing game that no one agrees with in the world. There's not a human in this fucking world that you could put in front of me that I could not destroy in 7 milliseconds in the world's little baby's day first argument. And have them try to in any way sell me that Cyberpunk is the best ongoing game.
It's not an ongoing game.
It's not only that, it doesn't even matter if it was. Even if they touched it up a little bit at a time, if you look at No Man's Sky and you look at that, it should have been called the No Man's Sky fucking award. You know how they
Fortnite, dude.
Yeah. Now I'm mad about that.
Yeah, that was really weird, man.
Alex says, do you recommend Mexico or Cuba if you had to choose one place? Dude, not Mexico. In a million years, man. I had a family member go to Mexico. That place currently there's a lot of danger in Mexico. I would say Cuba, even though there's danger there. It's seems to be a little bit easier to parse. Putty Man says, did the Avatar game help you enjoy that franchise more? Do you think you'll be more interested in watching the new movies? Negative. Negative.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm enjoyed the gameplay. I skipped through the dialogue. I skipped through I just wanted to get to Avatar? Foraging. Yeah, I just wanted to get to foraging and jumping around and running. I skipped through the dialogue, unashamedly.
Well, you didn't say sorry, so there's some kind of shame.
Yeah, there you go. I'm shameful, very shameful.
Dude, it's like Avatar is a good game without Avatar.
Yeah. And that's so, like my fun of it is the foraging and shit and running around.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you could have done Native Americans. You could have done another planet with a different, because it's obviously the Native American archetypes, or people who live in the native place before colonizers or whatever wants to come in. And it doesn't matter if it's Avatar, but I can tell you in no way, shape, or form did playing Avatar the game ever even have 1 calorie in my entire body think to itself, maybe I should watch the movie again.
Yeah, me neither.
It never happened. Yeah. It never happened. That game is awesome. I enjoy it. And I know that people, it didn't get the best scores. I don't care. I actually think that game has a lot going for it that it's just too easy to attack it. It's like, you could tell going in. I was like, thing's gonna get destroyed, man. It just doesn't matter. It's like I knew where the PR of it was even headed, and where the influencers and stuff like that. And by the way, I'm not saying that all bad scores mean that's what I'm talking about. I actually think the scores I saw were, I mean, 6s to 9s. That seems pretty open to me. Speaking of that, we look at all the games that have come out this year. Is there a game that sticks above the rest? Not as a game of the year, because I think that's bullshit. I think game of the year is stupid. But just like a game that stuck out, not in a bad way, but maybe there's a memory in your head of this game. Doesn't even have to be the best game. Just memorable.
Yeah, Alan Wake 2 like resonated with me in a different way than the other games for sure.
Really?
Yeah, just because of its cool uniqueness and weirdness and that scene and stuff like that. It's a lot of stuff that resonated with me that like it's one of the only games this year that I like was thinking about for a while afterwards. That stuck out for sure. Also Remnant 2, because not because it did anything crazily unique or anything, but because it surpassed a lot of my expectations on what it delivered, and it was kind of like stood because not a lot of people were talking, like not a lot of people talk about Remnant, and I think it just did something that for a while, for honestly, it feels like years I've been asking for, where I want a game like that, like where I can co-op with a friend that's not a live service, where we can like go around and like explore together and like meet people and like do, go through bosses and stuff. And it provided all of that, and all of that really cool co-op experience that nobody's really talking about that much. You know what I mean? And I've been wanting for a while, ever since the live service just kind of eclipsed everything. Yeah,
I would say Remnant 2 is really high. My highest is Bramble King by far. But second would probably be Remnant. And Bramble King wasn't even the best game ever. It's just, it was all, I mean, it was like a fairy tale, and I remember, I'll probably remember it forever, even though the gameplay chops aren't even the greatest. And there's certainly not, there's surprise, but there's not like Alan Wake surprise, which I'm not going to get to any further. Alan Wake had huge surprises. You were like, what? This is in a game? What is even happening? Like, this is nuts. But there's this thing where every time I was playing Alan Wake, and I liked it a lot, it felt like a production that, yes, it was surprising. My God, this is in a game, but they were trying. There was an effort there, which is awesome, and they should be rewarded for it. Bramble King was pretty effortless, and it just fit. And I was playing it going start to finish. I was like, and that's like Remnant 2, same way, start to finish. I was like, dude, this is sort of effortless. There isn't, aside from the boss I hate in that game, but
yeah,
one character, one boss, fuck, man. I mean, count yourself lucky, because in a lot of games
that you might not get.
That you might not get, because I think you said you didn't get him for a while. A lot of people didn't get that boss for a while, and I just happened to get him first fucking boss. But dude, Bramble King was like, I will remember that game. It's just like Kingsbird, where when I play it, I'm like, it's not going to get talked about. It's not going to get celebrated, but holy shit, this game. Dredge. There were times when I was playing Dredge, dude, where I was like, this is so close to being a classic. It didn't hit classic, but there was parts in Dredge where I was like, if this was a little cleaner, maybe the graphics were a little better. Couple things here or there could have been done. I really enjoyed my time with Dredge, man. Dredge was
I'm excited to try out. I think in tomorrow, Diver, 2 days from now. Yeah, Day of the Diver Dredge. I think it's also free. So that'll.
Terrence says zombie. Zombie. Sorry, why did I say zombie? Zelda blew him away, and I would say Zelda, Tears of the Wild was pretty fucking awesome. Yeah, Zelda was cool. Quake 64 remaster. That's going to waste. Wait, was Quake 64 remaster just this year?
Oh yeah, it was this year. Yeah, a couple of months ago or last month, like very recently.
Armored Core wannabe devs, and you loved Armored Core.
I loved Armored Core.
There we go.
I've never played a mech game before. And that one was just super adrenaline, like super like boom boom, super fast and dodging and shooting, and it felt great. Yeah.
Rogerio says, strangely, there are no games I enjoyed a lot like I did Tears of the Kingdom. I haven't played any poignant enough game that stuck with me after I was done with it. Closest was Chance of Sonar. Oh
yeah, Tears of the Kingdom also surprised me a lot with its tools, systems.
Yeah. Dude, it's a sexy game regardless. Like that's one of those games that I don't think I really ever thought about the tech stuff. The frame rate went up and down at times. So did the other one, Breath of the Wild. But there were some tech issues with Zelda. But dude, that was a pretty amazing experience. But I got to say, also was Mario Wonder. Pretty.
Oh yeah, that one surprised me a lot too. Yeah,
I wasn't even
fun ass game.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, I wasn't even looking at it.
Ridiculous game. Let me put this dog out. Hang on.
Yeah, the coolest thing about Mario Wonder, and I don't know how they do this, it's just like every single every single level in every single level in fucking Mario Wonder was just super unique, dude. I felt like every time I entered a level there was like a crazy new gameplay mechanic that just was super dope. Dead Island 2 is high on my list. Not bought it yet. Dude, Dead Island 2 is a weird one because I really enjoyed it. They did things very differently though. It wasn't really Left 4 Dead, and it wasn't really like an open world thing, but they had this really cool level design and stuff where you go through and kind of unlock shortcuts and stuff, but you can also go through these cool locations and just kill zombies in like an influencer house and stuff. And obviously it's dismemberment system. Like I think at the start of the game, me and my friend were just hacking on a zombie corpse and just seeing how much you can cut up the zombie.
What game is this?
Could cut up Dead Island 2. Remember the gore system?
Dude,
how crazy this shit was, man. You just cut up a zombie down to its like inner organs and stuff.
Dude,
man.
That's the thing with a lot of these games too, is they get forgotten because Dying Light 2 did well and Dead Island wasn't as open world or what have you, but I thought Dead Island's combat was fucking awesome. Like
there
was a lot
really
of stuff
fun.
it was fun. That's the thing, is we always get caught up in like, I don't know, the big, you know, and it's like, dude,
just like a fun time,
right? And where I feel like I'll probably remember it for a long time too, but where you feel like your money just came in. Somebody just mentioned Sacred, and I late one night was looking at Discord and I saw you say you liked Sacred 3. And
what's Sacred 3?
The Sacred games.
I was fucking. Oh yeah. I was fucking.
You were talking about the wrong one, but it was so funny because I was all bleary eyed reading the chat, and I saw you say that, and people right after were like,
"That's a
what?
mobile game one, right?" Yeah. They changed it to a mobile game. Yeah.
I'll check out Twitter before we go. What else do we got? Any things we missed? I think we hit almost everything there. You're going to be gone this will be your last Friday.
This Friday,
gone, right?
Yeah, last Friday I'll be gone. Yeah, after that I'll be all in. Do you always get fucking DMs on Discord for people wanting to do art?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bullshit in
like
in
24/7, dude.
Yeah, I get a lot of fake.
Or like, oh, is this your Steam profile? I accidentally reported you.
Yeah, so I'm building a game. You want to check it out? Double click this.
Oh god, yeah, I had that from a friend's account, and I was like, okay, this is not you.
Alejandro on Twitter says favorite supernatural or paranormal moment in a game.
I guess Control. Wait, supernatural moment, like a one moment.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
For supernatural, I mean, not necessarily supernatural. I mean, it just depends, because a lot of games that are supernatural, ahead of time, which then removes my interest, because like I told you, I don't necessarily react the same way. But I would say Fear had some really cool parts in the original game, Fear. And then, but see, it's not supernatural. I was going to say Half-Life 3 or Half-Life 2, sorry. They're aliens or whatever.
I can't think of a game where I thought it was going to be like a realistic game and then something supernatural happens.
Like something supernatural happened, yeah. And the supernatural ones, they usually play their hand pretty quickly. It's almost like when you see a movie called The Exorcist, you don't think it'll be about UFOs. Right?
Yeah.
You don't go, this is going to be about toy horses and clowns. You're like, this is going to be about an exorcism. So they don't sell themselves well. Nagel says the aliens in Indiana Jones were weird. And that is true.
Yeah.
That was actually a different one. I know people don't like the game. What were you going to say?
The last thing I can think of was Crisis, and I didn't look at. I don't think I saw trailers and stuff. Had no idea they were going to be aliens or whatever the fuck. I remember like just playing through it and thinking it's just like a kind of grounded thing, and then the aliens thing happened. Changed
You know
the
what?
game.
Sailor Moon brought up a good one. Indigo Prophecy, which is also, I believe, Fahrenheit, right? Didn't that come
Oh,
by
is that
two?
the one that Silver hates?
Yeah, Silver hates. I think it went weird enough that I sort of enjoyed that. Yeah, I actually thought. I would say also Alan Wake 1. Alan Wake 1 has some really cool supernatural parts, but it's usually just introducing you to the first bad guy or something where I was like, oh, this is different. You know, Shadows, it wasn't played out as much as it probably is now. I think Metro 2033 had some spooky stuff, old boy says. I just remember liking Metroid or Metro. I don't remember the supernatural parts.
Because Metro, you're fighting. No, there are mutants and humans and shit, but then there's like this kind of like Akira moments in there where it's like, oh, this is bigger than just fighting mutants and stuff.
Yeah, than what we think.
Like it's like humanity and shit. Yeah, a
lot of people are saying
where you're bringing the kid or whatever alien thing. I forgot. I played that game a while ago. I love that game.
Next up, Pool says, Spotify, I listen to Fall Out Boy more than any other band. I don't remember ever listening to them. Captain Stew's talking about games. Tipsy Tater Tot says, can we please get a wrap-up for all the wrap-ups? Boy, do I agree, man.
Yeah.
Do I agree? I would love to never have another wrap-up again. I feel the same way about wrap-ups as I do about achievements. By the way, I don't mean you guys who are saying, hey, we listened to the podcast. Those are always awesome. I just mean for me. I just don't care. I know what I played. I don't need to, I don't. Dude, do you know
there's
can
also
I explain
a thing
something? Just real quick.
Yeah.
Do you know how those were, do you know why wrap-ups were created?
Why?
Did you see me talking about this? Wrap-ups were originally created to use you, the consumer, as ads. That's why they're there. Spotify there's a whole research project you can read about how these companies have realized that wrap-ups are nothing more than a way to get the actual consumer to be an ad for the company's platform.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with tracking what you do,
friends.
has nothing to do with any of that stuff. It's literally there as a PR device for you, the gamer, the music listener, to become a fucking platform ad. And it pisses me off. So,
it makes sense.
Yeah, it just it pisses me off because it's a celebration, which is awesome for us, but I get tainted by it because I know that, and so then I don't want to celebrate. Sound like the old guy screaming at clouds, but it's like it just pisses me off, man. I hate it. Let's see, Otherworld. Indiana Jones comment made me remember that part in the very first Uncharted when you're in the submarine. Oh, Uncharted and Tomb Raider. They both hint at supernatural stuff at times, or, there's a scare, or there's, is it like ghosts in a tomb or what have you? I don't know if you call them supernatural, but I think those are,
there's Sasquatch and UFO and Red Dead that you can randomly.
Oh, dude, or the cannibals in Red Dead 2. Yeah, so Red Dead and Red Dead 2, that's true. They do a very good job of making you wonder if there's something, because you can get kidnapped, right, by the UFO. You can even get beamed up and everything, can't you, in Red Dead 2?
I don't remember. I just remember, like, you're in this certain house and you see lights and then you see, like, a UFO or something.
But doesn't he get knocked out and wake up later or something? I thought that was in Red Dead 2. I didn't see it, or I didn't have that happen to me. I just had, I thought I saw people talking about that. Alien UFO and Fallout 3. Good example.
Yeah, finding that overpowered zap gun.
The zap gun thing. Yeah, that was
being
awesome.
Like, I don't want to ever use it. I don't want to use up the ammo. I'll just use it in very, very strict situations.
Yeah, those are
and
all
then they
really
made a
examples.
Mothership Zeta DLC for it.
They made Alaska DLC. I actually thought some of their older DLC was pretty good. Yeah, I think also Far Cry tried this. They did the Alien. They did the Mars DLC, which is terrible. They did, what did they do? Vietnam, Mars, and zombies, right? Yeah. Vietnam, Mars, and zombies. Gone Home seems supernatural. Yeah, Gone Home definitely felt supernatural through almost all of it. Ethan Carter, I like Ethan Carter. Actually, the vanishing of Ethan Carter. You started as just a private detective. So I would say that one did a good job. Did you ever play Vanishing Ethan Carter?
No, but I'm pretty sure I have it installed because I wanted to actually play it. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's very good.
No, I have Bramble King installed. That's what I wanted to play next on
You've
there.
been reading anything, watching anything? I know that you were saying music festival stuff. Is there anything other in that? Or
no, last weekend was a cool. So I went to a music conference, and in the daytime there was a lot of panels and a lot of workshops and showcases for cool tech. There was I tested out this $20,000 Dolby Atmos speakers, which was I think like 8.4 or something.
Damn.
They were pretty fucking cool. That you had like speakers on the ceiling, like 6 speakers on the ceiling that kind of had like different angles. There was a whole place where people just can go and just jam together, like drummers and bassists and guitarists. There was this dude, that one interested me the most. He's this Japanese artist or DJ or whatever, and he has like a module like this big, wires all over, and each single module on it was like a either a MIDI effect or an audio effect, and he had like so much. He'd like manipulate sound through knobs in really, really cool ways. He was doing a panel. It was really, really cool. And then nighttime was the parties.
Real quick, something popped up into my news while we were talking. That's Game Sutra just announced that Sega filed the following 4 trademarks: Altered Beast, Eternal Champions, Jet Set Radio, which we knew about, and Kid Chameleon. I got to tell you, that is exactly what I had heard, was that Altered Beast wouldn't be at this event because that was not done yet. That was not ready to be announced. So Altered Beast and Eternal Champions, I cannot wait. Kid Chameleon's sort of goofy, but yeah, that'll be awesome, man. Sega's coming back. I love that Sega did Sega does what Nintendo don't, kind of, that 1980s commercial they had during the game trailers, where it's like kids talking.
3D Sega Streets of Rage.
Yeah, 3D Streets of Rage. Admittedly, Golden Axe was pretty rough, but
did it? Oh,
yeah,
okay,
Golden Axe, dude. You saw these other Streets of Rage look beautiful, but just for a second, Shinobi had cool graphics. Jet Grind was awesome. Taxi was what I expected, but then they showed Golden Axe in 3D, and I was like, that one seems to be the farthest out. Like, you see
what do you think they meant by saying like more? What more?
These. I'm sure it was these games. These new trademarks. Altered Beast wasn't shown, and I was told that Altered Beast wouldn't be in the trailer. That's why I was joking about it on my Twitter. And then Eternal Champions, which is their fighter. So Eternal Champions was their idea to be a Street Fighter killer. Now, the moment you mention that, you're just dumb. Just dumb.
Yeah.
But Eternal Champions had a lot of good ideas, like very specific spots to kill somebody that would create a environment kill. There was environment kills in it, all kinds of stuff, hidden characters. So, but it was rough. It played rough. It was one of my favorite games. It had some cool characters, but rough.
Didn't they do Virtua Fighter as well? But I guess that's 3D.
I mean, I like Virtual Fighter. They said that they're going to still do it, but they even stated that it's a little too realistic for today's player, and I don't believe so. I think Sega's really not thinking that through, because you have Tekken, you have Street Fighter, they're throwing fireballs, they're jumping up, they've got all this kind of stuff. I don't see a problem with having Virtual Fighter be a more realistic, more martial arts based, locked really down fighter. Honestly, it's like my dream, so I don't even like to talk about it because I just don't think it'll happen. And they're very poor at updates. By the way, they just updated Street Fighter 3 Team Battle, which is 4 behind the most recent one. Like, it's Sega. You never know what they're doing. But they're not great at character making either. I mean, as much as I love it, there's only about 6 characters I think are good in Virtual Fighter, and then you got like Rollerblade Girl. Like the most generic culture grab. What was popular? Biker shorts and rollerblades. Let's put that in the game. And you're like, no. You need to. There's enough martial arts, classical martial arts in the world that you could go out there and grab. Salat. You could grab. Muay Thai's in there. You could grab. I'm trying to think of some really arcane ones. They got a monk in there. There's like 85 animal styles for monks too. So it's like you could have at least 3 of those characters, but we'll have to see. What else do we got? Oh, Skies of Arcadia. Yeah, dude. Or a real Fantasy Star, or Panzer Dragon. If they said Panzer Dragon RPG, they were just remaking it, the world would explode. Would be phenomenal. So for me, listening and stuff like that, man, I haven't, Ron Jenkins released a new song, and I love Ron Jenkins, but it's a little
Nice.
You know, musicians, they don't always stick, right, to what they're doing. And I think I aligned with him the most when he was in the synth beat tracks and like exploration of what you can do with just insane hooks and stuff in that. And he's gone a little bit more melodic and a little bit more experimental. And I've had a really hard time listening to his stuff lately, which is sad because he's beyond talented. And I mean sad, not he's sad or anything he's doing sad. I just mean it's sad I don't align with his musical tastes right now.
Yeah. That happens a lot.
Yeah, it does, doesn't
like with
it?
Zelda.
What was Zelda? You
like,
mean where they don't align with your
like
gameplay
things
taste?
change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How like devs want to try new things and people, not everyone's going to be
It's like going back
board.
to an X after a couple years. You think that there's an alignment there and you go back and you're like, oh, they've changed. Things are not the same. We have the old problems and new ones. You know, it's like you might have great sex or you might have a great relationship, but then, you know, they've lived 5 years in another place. They come back and the things they do, you're like, yeah, it's not the same. It's best to start over. But I would kill for it. Golden Axe, I think, is exciting. They have a bunch of racers. Sega's got a lot of titles. If they did a zillion, I'd freak out. I'm saying names that were legitimately 20 years before some people were born. Power Stone would be... Did you ever do Power Stone? I think I asked you this last time. You haven't done Power Stone. Yeah, Ron Jenkins I've been listening to, reading some stuff. Soul Sleeper, $5 super chat. Gents, still going strong. So after all these long podcast sessions, what's the first thing you do after closing off? That's a good question. So when we wrap up a podcast, after. Pee?
Yeah.
Pee. Yeah.
Pee.
I don't have to pee right now, which is scaring me a little bit because I've drank a lot of pop and I'm like, where is my bladder? You can go right now if you want while I continue to talk.
Okay.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
That's a good question. What do we do? But I would say pee, feed my dogs, say hi to them because they have a tendency to stare at me. And that's why sometimes if you guys watch the podcast, you'll see me doing this. That's because to my left is a sad group of 3 dogs that are staring right at me, right off screen. And they're just mopey. You know, they give you the sad dog look. Power Stone is Capcom, correct. Yeah, it was a Dreamcast exclusive, I believe, at the time, which is why you see Power Stone many times mentioned. Zillion was on the Master System. Yeah, it was awesome. It was great. I think when you look at these old titles from Sega, it makes sense, though. Sega has done quite well with titles that I never expected them to do, and they've done a really good job with bringing in companies, buying companies, what have you, and doing something that Sega wasn't able to do prior, which is continually be financially successful or financially solvent or what have you. And they've instead got some of these titles I never expected. And so to me, I think the idea that they're now going back and maybe experimenting a little bit, I personally think that package of Sega games will be in one title. I don't know if that's even a guess. Maybe everybody knows that. But I think the idea would be, you know, pay $60, get 4 games. That would be phenomenal. I don't think those will all be separate titles. If they are, they'll be, you know, maybe the Dreamcast pack for 60 will get you all 4, or maybe each one's 20. But it depends, because if they're super long and they're really in-depth games, I have no problem playing 60. I don't think I'd pay 60 for Crazy Taxi, but there's other games out there that I would definitely pay 60 for on a remake from those guys. Sega's doing a good job, man. Sega's starting to sort of understand how to, I guess, leverage their past, but at the same time not risk or put at hazard their current or their future, which some companies have a problem doing. Do you think it'll be a Sega Battle Pass? Nah, man, I hope not. I don't want any kind of Sega Battle Pass or any new subscriptions. We've got enough of them. The other thing that got announced, I don't know if anybody was watching, was that Might and Magic, the publisher for Might and Magic, also took 3 Might and Magic URLs. They applied for Might and Magic URLs, so there's supposedly a brand new Might and Magic coming out. Might and Magic was awesome. Yeah, Might and Magic was good.
Oh, Might and Magic, like the RPG?
Yeah. They before we popped in, somebody had posted that they had patented, or whatever it is, when you claim the URL, when you seed it, you know, it's like, that's ours. They took 3 for Might and Magic, so the assumption is we'll get a new one.
Nice. The only ones I played was Heroes of Might and Magic and the one that by Arcane.
So you didn't play the
cool
real RPG
one.
Might and Magics from back in the day?
Never.
Dude, they were ahead of their time. Yeah. Saw something about a new DNPHB. D&D. Oh, okay. I was like, what? D&D PHB. I don't know what PHB stands for. What's PHB stand for? Player hub butthole.
Butthole.
Penis. Horrendous. Banger. A new D&D PHB. Pucker. Hump. Bung. No, I don't think any of those are going to be right. Oh, Player's Handbook. I was way off. What else do we got before we wrap it up? Do we have anything amazing? Anything new? You're doing the music thing on Friday. We're going to be doing another big podcast on Friday. We had actually a huge number of people come to that. I want to say I appreciate it, especially because Fridays and Wednesdays are not the best days. I was asked, are we going to do a Saturday podcast? Maybe move the Friday one because people are at work. No. The Friday one is because I'm selfish and I like Fridays and I like to celebrate Fridays. And that's what I do on the Friday. We won't be switching to Saturdays. I don't want to eat these guys' Saturdays up. I pay them, but not that much. I'd have to figure out
for me, it'd be better on Saturday, actually.
Than Friday, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, it might even be better for some of them, but for me, it's not because I love that Friday roll in. I come out of the podcasts and I'm always happy. And it's like, we have this, great time on Fridays. And so it makes my weekend go better. It makes Fridays usually are awesome, but it's a jump start. Yeah. Because I get out and I'm always excited. And then we do Discord or what have you and piss off the wife because I'm consistently on there. Which happened yesterday. Big time. Actually yesterday I was like told to get off to go talk because we had a bunch of people and I went and I was like, I challenge you to have an interesting discussion because if this discussion is not interesting, I'm going back to Discord. I'm having a good time. We're in there. We started talking for about 5 minutes and she grabbed her phone to look at Instagram. Something popped up and I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay,
we got 5 minutes.
Do it.
Yeah. Normally I wouldn't do that, but this time we were we were having a good time. What else, do you got anything planned for like anything else? Is there any other games you're looking forward to? Are you going to grab anything or
I looked at in January, I watched your video. I'm looking forward. I'm honestly, I'm very interested in checking out the Last of Us roguelike, even though I didn't like the main
mode.
Game.
Right.
Yeah,
because
I like the combat.
For me and you, because we have the original.
Yeah, it's only $10. Yeah. I'm interested. I'm interested in the Disco Elysium steampunk game. I'm very interested in that, and obviously Infinite Wealth is like the next big thing.
So, dude, I gotta admit to you, Tekken is interesting me.
Tekken,
which I'm not a Tekken fan.
Dude, the last time I played Tekken was like 4, and I know I have a lot of friends that love 7. They're super into 7, and I don't know, man. It's just always a commitment when you get into a fighting game.
Yeah,
it's just a commitment, learning all the movesets and.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I saw some of what was going on with Tekken and that jump to Unreal. They switched engines. It looks sweet.
Great.
I'm not a big fan of their fight. You know how every game's got that different fighting style. I'm not a massive fan of how Tekken does combat, but what I saw depends on the character creator. If if you have a good custom character creator, so far what I see looks like it's probably one of the more interesting. I think Infinite Wealth is the most, but dude, this is the first time where when somebody's like, this game's a fucking huge game, you probably die. I've tried to play it all at once, where I actually got a little bit of weight in my shoulders and my bones when he kept talking about it. And I was looking at the trailers to do this video, and every trailer's like, this game's going to be fucking huge. And I just started to go, I don't know if I can do another Yakuza so close to the last one I did. Like, it's a lot, right. And it's both characters, and they said side stories are written by the original side story writers of like not good, they're all good, but the sort of surprising Yakuza story writers.
Yeah,
it's all that.
Yeah,
that the resort thing is huge. They were talking more about the resort thing.
Lot.
Yeah,
crazy
there's a
bicycle.
lot. There's a lot.
Yeah.
And crazy bicycle. You're on a Segway. You have the full resort with like hiring and firing people and like union contracts or something. I'm just like,
that's going to be an ongoing game, that one.
Yeah, I mean, so somebody said Yakuza 6 was huge, but I'm pretty sure what they said about this one
6 was small. You mean 7? He means 7.
Even if he means 7, I'm pretty sure they said this one is like maybe twice. The size if you wanted to do everything.
Yeah, 7 took me 80 hours, dude.
Yeah.
7 took me 80 hours.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yakuza games ain't no joke already. So, what's the shortest Yakuza game? 0? No.
6, I think.
6.
6 or Gaiden, obviously, but like out of the numbered ones, 6 was pretty small. But it had every single thing voice acted, every single side quest, every single thing. But it was fairly smaller than the other numbered ones. 5 and 7 are the biggest ones. 5 was huge.
5 was huge.
Like
5 was huge.
It had like 4 or 5 different big side games. And then 7 was even, I think, bigger. 7 was huge.
I gotta give a shout out too, man. Total shout out. Yong is doing awesome, man. He's in the new one. He's in the last one. I think they're adding the voice dub. And ignore, some people aren't gonna like the voice. That definitely happens to me, where I don't like some voice actors. But I gotta give a shout out to somebody who's taken his love for games and been able to become a voice actor in them. Because to me, that's just awesome, like, regardless. And I don't know the reasoning why they replaced the original actor with Young, but I'm still celebrating somebody who covered games being able to sort of take that. And I know Ko has done a couple, and probably there's some secret stuff that I'm not aware of, but I just think it's so cool to see somebody who likes, something like that and is getting to be able to actually jump in.
Yeah, that reminded me of who's the guy who appeared in the Pony Island 2 trailers? He's also Asian, a bit chubbier.
I don't know.
He's the squirrel in God of War. He's a YouTuber.
Oh, gotcha. He's in the squirrel. Gotcha. So he's able to. Yeah, he's been able to do that. I just think it's awesome, man. Young is in Persona 3.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
I was not aware of that.
Let me see. God of War Ragnarok Squirrel VA. He's ProZD. That's the guy. Yeah, he's in Pony Island 2 as well. He was in the FMV sections in the trailer.
Somebody said Ko did a pretty good job, but it sounds like Ko. Yeah, I think that's the difference, is that, like, some people get into them and they're them, but they're them. They're just them, right? It's like it's the same thing with Yong. I've dealt with this, you deal with it in anime, you deal with it in games and movies when somebody gets replaced and, you don't like them, or even if even if that's not why and you just don't like them, that's completely up to you. Because I don't really necessarily love some of the stuff I've heard, but I just think it's awesome because, like, it's so easy to just hammer on everybody. And to me, I'm making videos about games. Like, if I was a kid, it probably would have replaced all my dreams if I had known this was going to be possible. I've been like, oh, fuck, yeah, man, that's going to be great. There's negatives to it, but I think it's awesome to get people who can sort of figure out a way to take whatever they're good at, even if people don't think they're good, and put themselves in games. That's just me. I'm sure people right now are like, well, I'm unfollowing Karak because he likes.
I think Ko did a great job in Baldur's Gate.
He did a better job in I don't want to say he did a better job. I think it was good in Baldur's Gate, more good than the Cyberpunk character, which I thought was just
everyone was just him.
Yeah, it was just it was almost like it was just odd. Yeah, it was like, it wasn't bad. It was
it was a little bit weird.
Yeah,
because you saw his face as well. You were like, oh, Ko is in this.
And that might be it too. Sometimes you see that face. And of course, jumping into anything, like because I love to do music. If somebody said, hey, Karak, you're going to be able to make music for this game, that would, let's say it's a new game, like Devil May Cry, Karak, you get to do the music. I'd be like, that's awesome, but I'm probably not telling anybody. Like, at all. I mean, that would be ridiculously scary to jump in.
Yeah.
So he's got more balls than most people, because I'm sure a lot of people would have turned that down. I'm like, I don't want to come after this person. I don't know why they replace those voice. You never know. The business of voice acting is still pretty not shady, but odd.
It's weird too, because in Japan, like, they keep their voice act. Like, if someone voice acted a character like 20 years ago, they're voice acting next year. Yeah. Like,
did you see what's going on with Tekken? Tekken, they're taking all the newer voice actors and replacing the old ones, and they're like updating everybody. I don't know if people are pissed about it because I haven't checked, but yeah, that was something that they stated was, like, they're getting all the ones who've replaced or whatever voice actors going back and recording one-liners and stuff from old actors and putting them in. I'll have to see how that all pans out, but I love the idea. ProZD said only Asians should play Asians, then whined when he couldn't get white roles. Guess he's okay taking Chinese, Japanese, and Mongolian roles.
What?
I didn't know that, but that does pop up. That is a thing where somebody's like, the only people who can act this part are the people that let's say their historical figure, what have you. And I absolutely get the thought process, but I think that if somebody sounds like it, I'm okay with it. That's just me. I'm the same way with actors. I'm okay with people switching out actors and stuff. Soulskeeper says...
Oh, you're cutting out for me. Am I cutting out for you?
No, you're there. Was I cutting out?
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're roboting for me.
Soulskeeper said ACG following up Christopher Judge as Kratos in the next God of War. Dude, I'd do Kratos. No, I couldn't do Kratos. Can you imagine trying to be Kratos?
Boy. No, it's Christopher Judge is perfect.
Boy. See, the thing about Christopher Judge is he sounds like a dude whose chest is big enough for me to crawl up inside and have a nice, comfy sleep, right? He's the tauntaun of actors. He's fucking massive. And he sounds massive.
Yeah.
Like Mike Tyson looked huge and sounded small, which was rare. That's why, I'm the best fighter I ever lived. People be like, what the fuck? That doesn't sound like this dude who just bit somebody. But then Chris Judge, when he talks, sounds like Chris Judge. He sounds like Kratos. He's got a, I think. Do you remember, was there a lot of pissiness when Judge replaced whoever did the voice acting? A
tiny bit. I remember there was this interview with the other guy, and he was like, well, Santa Monica didn't inform me. So he was like, Christopher Judge does an amazing job, but I wish they just told me or something. So there was a little bit there
and that's what I mean. People
and there's for sure some purists that like the other guy more. But I just think it makes sense because he's matured and he needs like that kind of a deeper voice and stuff.
I do believe though that when you go 3D like we are now with this full 3D of Kratos versus the older games which were like pseudo 3D, there might be a situation where they feel that in some cutscenes or some gameplay Chris Judge sounds more like that guy doing that thing than this other guy did. And that is actually real. You will hear somebody will say, oh, in this different viewpoint that voice doesn't work as well, but it does in this other viewpoint. I get it.
Yeah, I know that completely makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, and it's something we don't think about, but I still think the voice acting entire situation is shady a lot of times. You'll hear somebody getting replaced, or you hear, a person saying, I wasn't even told, and you're like, okay, but why? I wonder why, we don't know. Sometimes we have this with Bayonetta, where the story being told turned out to not at all be, so you're like, you never quite know. TC Carson is his name.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy TC got replaced, but Judge did great for the new mindset of Kratos. Was there a new mindset? Well, I mean,
like as much being a dad and stuff, or view. Yeah.
Oh, Big Boss. That's the one I was thinking about. Remember they got Keith or Sutherland, and that was purely based, I would assume, on 24's success. The TV show's 24.
For Metal Gear?
Yeah, for Metal Gear. Because didn't they bring him into...
Yeah.
Is that it? I think that's it. Let me verify. I've got all my notes, and we'll wrap this up. We are now approximately 19 minutes longer than the Call of Duty 3 campaign. Yeah, I said
Hell yeah, dude.
I said it.
Yep.
Oh, real quick. Questions. What do you think of the finals? I think it's awesome. I've had a great time. I think that it's cool that the finals is the anti-Fortnite. Fortnite has you build. Finals has you destroy. Even though they're not exactly type of game, I think that it's time. It was a long time coming, and I really thought it was awesome. Digzer says Pandora Avatar audio is incredible. Yes, it's amazing. Friends Code says why do devs make promises they don't keep? That's a long conversation, but it involves planning and they want to keep all those promises. Obviously, just doesn't work out. Yeah. Jacob, what's your favorite super mechanic or idea in a game? No, what's your favorite surprise mechanic? So last one, what is the favorite surprise mechanic? Something that surprised us. Nemesis is up there.
Oh shit! I'm sure I have a good one.
Foreign $4 super chat. Thank you very much. Like I said, super chats help the channel keep going, especially because they demonetized. You know what? By the way, I was complaining about the demonetization for the January video, and now I understand why it was demonetized. Within 30 seconds, I showed a 0.9-second clip of The Last of Us 2, and it happened to be a dead body. So that's on me.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it was demonetized instantly. One. Go for it.
I was playing before Xenoblade Chronicles 3 came out. I decided to play the first one because there was a remaster of it on the Switch, and that game came out so long ago. It came out on the Wii, and the mechanic that really surprised me was all the different bonds and stuff of all the NPCs in like a town, and like doing quests will change those bonds, and it kind of tells a story of like these NPCs. Xenoblade Chronicles 1.
Oh, 1.
And it wasn't 3 as well, but it just surprised me in 1 because I didn't expect, like, I thought it was ahead of its time.
Yeah. And I will say Asheron's Call 2 allowed you to sit around a campfire and play your instrument, but it was you playing the title or the music from the game. So when you played like a wood instrument, it was the wood instrument would go higher so that you were playing the actual track. And then if somebody came with bongo drums, the bongo drums would add to that track. And if somebody came in and it was this unbelievable, I believe it was 2 that did this, not 1, but it would be phenomenal to see that again, because there was this feeling of I'm playing the music. I don't know how to describe it, but it was awesome. Asheron's Call was well ahead of its time. 1 and 2 were both ahead of their time. That to me, when it first showed up, was awesome. Pitchfork says, I got the ACG dog shirt. Red on white looks amazing. Thank you very much. I think that's the Rough Game shirt that Johnny got as well. Yeah, man, they're good shirts. Absy wouldn't know, because 2 of his are being worn by a customs agent named Mars, who stole them. And he's probably banging hot chicks, doing coke like Charlie Sheen in my ACG shirts.
ACG shirts, man.
Never had to pay for him. His life has improved dramatically because he got these free shirts. It's like his karma went up.
God damn it.
Absy's over there, fighting, scrapping to fucking get jobs. This guy's probably just consistently
it was around the Ghost of
fighting
Tsushima
models.
Release.
Was it?
yeah, because they were those like the
well, you can always send me your address,
and
I can send you. I mean, it could get lost too, though. But I mean, because I have extras that I buy. I always buy one to test it, to like before I even put it up for sale, just in case the print doesn't look good or whatever. But I've been super happy. Yeah. So right now, Mars, if you're listening, man, I'm glad you're enjoying those shirts that you stole directly from Absy himself. That you pilfered from. Yeah. Hope you're happy. You piece of shit. Yeah. You dog shit
fucking
human.
Piece of shit.
As he's like, I am happy. Thanks. He's right now. I'm posting in chat. He's like, thanks, man. All right, that'll be it for us. You get a chance, check out the Discord. It absolutely helps the channel. You'll see a podcast from us on Friday. For new videos from me, I'm working on not a top 10, not that kind of, but something along those lines. I'm trying to do some different ones that you guys don't see. If you get a chance and you're not seeing alerts, please unsubscribe and then subscribe and hit notify all. That's the only way to fix it. Alex says, do you ship to Canada? Yes, because that's where you were.
Yeah, but they got lost.
They got lost. So some Canadian moose is running around with an ACG shirt and stuck in his fucking antlers, clawing and shit. But yeah, they do ship pretty much everywhere. But it might cost a bit. I mean, I don't know what cost is. That'll be it for us, man. Thank you, everybody. Absolutely appreciate it. Any last words from you? Any?
Have fun gaming. Don't
do anything Absy would do.
Don't not be positive. Be positive. Just have fun, dude.
You couldn't even say be positive without being negative. You said don't not be positive. That's negative.
Don't not be not positive.
Don't not be not. Don't not be positive. That's positive. Because it's double negative. There you go. Double negative. Hashtag don't be not be positive.
Not positive. Or just be negative if you want. I don't give a shit. Just have fun.
All right. Peace out, everybody. I hope you guys have an awesome